Yeah. Okay. You guys are still muted, so whatever you say, I don't care. Hey Chad, what's good?
Chad is being covered by us.
This will call it the gooning circle.
Okay, your rights are
What do they
restored.
call us the gooning circles?
Your rights have successfully been restored.
Let's go.
And we are live. This is the comeback.
Let's
Okay,
go.
so ever since the last one, I have gained a significant amount of subs, like maybe like 2,000. So I kind of need to I need to preface what's going on here, because the first time we did one of these, which was FNAF Theorists team up, was for my birthday, where I subjected myself to talking about Midnight Motorist for 3 hours, which was embarrassing. And then we talked about the FNAF 2 minigames, and then I decided that I was too lazy and I didn't do any of them anymore. But I decided to move on to FNAF 3, which is Happiest Day and Follow Me. So first we're going to do the Happiest Day minigames. We're just going to talk about them, overanalyze them, whatever. They're on stream right now. And then we're going to talk about Follow Me, which is going to be very, very painful, if there's time for that. I have more thoughts on Follow Me than Happiest Day, probably, but we'll see. So yeah, chat. It's the big live Theorist comeback. I'll be doing plenty of streams in May and stuff. So this is the first actual proper May live stream. Okay. Without further ado, let's just get right into it.
Also, we're here.
Yeah. You guys,
Hello.
you guys are there. Say
Hello.
hi, everyone. Introduce yourselves. From
Good,
left to
what's
right.
Good. It's
on
your
the
boy.
little
It's
thing.
your boy. Left to right. It's
Hello,
your boy, Scrungle Knight. I'm the best. That's it.
Rungle Nine.
It's Krungle Nide.
It's your boy. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah,
Cosmic.
Cosmic.
Hi, I'm Cosmic.
Wow. Epic.
Well
Next.
done.
Wow.
Next along
So
the line.
epic.
I'm Mamakato. I'm the objectively always correct FNAF theorist that you can
Me when
find
I
at
lie.
Me when I
youtube.com/@Mamakato.
This fucking guy. You go.
This fucking
Wow, I see how it is. Well, as dubbed as Narrow Sigma by the iconic Candleman, I have a theory video coming out in like 30 minutes, so you should watch it.
Bro,
Yeah,
while
leave
he's
stream for it,
streaming,
apparently.
while he's
Yeah, go
streaming,
ahead.
you're
Tell him.
killing your own numbers.
Bro, this fucking guy. This is why I called him this fucking guy. This guy doesn't
This
deserve
fucking
love.
guy.
He doesn't deserve love. He
Shut
makes
up,
he makes too many good theories. Terminal, your turn.
Mods.
I'm being nice to you.
Send this guy to Denmark.
My name is Terminal Error, sub to Terminal Error. That's it. That's all I got.
Shameless self-promoing. Love it.
Yes, love to say shameless self promo.
And I'm the Unwithered Sigma, also dubbed by the Candleman. So
Unfortunately, you've all been called Sigmas, but I've been called the Gooning Circle. So I had a very bad
I'll
role.
call him the gooning circle.
I had a very
someone
bad
someone
role.
did bring up
I just will call
someone brought up Skibbity Toilet for Gibby's homestead, so I think he got it the worst of everyone.
Yeah, I think he has it the
You know what,
worst.
yeah.
Skibbity. How do you even
Skibbity toilet is crazy.
might as well call him the Skibbity Circle.
I think Skibbity is still in
Why don't I call
Japan.
him the skibbity circle?
I will get Skibbity on for the next stream. God, pronouncing that so
Let's
hard.
go.
I'll try. I edited a video for him, which you should totally watch after the live stream because it's awesome and full of brain rot and insanity, which is my typical. Okay. Where do we want to start
So where are we
for?
starting?
Yeah, where do we want to start for Happiest Day?
I guess we should
Probably
start
Happiest Day.
with. No, I think.
start with
Okay,
Happiest
are we
Day.
doing all the FNAF 3 minigames? Because if so, we should probably start. Like, are we gonna talk about like the BB one and all those?
Yeah, the
I
BB.
think they're important in reference to like what memories are being brought with
Yeah.
which kid and what's necessary for each thing to happen.
I think what we should do
I'm-
is I have the ultimate guide here next to me because that's totally the best source for everything. And
Oh, goody.
we're going to go in order over the Happiest Day minigames that happen over each night. So I'm going to explain a little bit about them for the buffoons in chat who don't know what the Happiest Day minigames are. Just kidding, love you guys. And then we're going to go on to Follow Me.
I don't.
Chat,
yeah,
are you gonna
we
take
know.
this?
Rise up, chat. 14s.
14's in the chat.
Chat, spam 14. If you're excited for the stream. Everyone spam 14.
I'll put a 14 in chat. Hold on.
Okay. Okay. I believe the first minigame is BB's Air Adventure. Let me turn on my light real quick.
Yeah, because I think that's the one you have to collect the balloons first, and then go back to
Yeah.
later and collect the cake.
And then you go
right?
back, and then it's Mangle, Chica, Fredbear, and Shadow
Yeah.
Bonnie.
Yeah, at least that's how I know Shadow
It's like-
Bonnie's
it's like
last.
for Balloon Boy. Yeah, it's for like Balloon Boy. You got to go collect the secret balloon. Then it makes the balloon platforms. Then you go to Mangle. Then you go up the balloon platforms to get the cake. And then you go back to BB.
Yeah,
bring
then
the
back
cake
to
to the
BB,
child.
right?
Then you go to Chica. Then take cake to the child.
Then it's Fredbear, stage
Fredbear's
01.
Stage 01, and then Shadow Bonnie, and then
then
that
it's
like
Happiest Day.
completes the set for Happiest Day. Yeah, and you can go on Happiest Day
Whenever.
Anytime,
and, like,
yeah.
check the and you can
With it,
check,
I think
like,
you can
which
throw
spirits
out
to
the
unlock.
ultimate guide because Cosmic has got it down. I think we don't.
Yeah,
need to-
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm
It's
holding
more
it. I'm holding on
accurate
to
than
it.
Ultimate guide.
I'm holding
I
on
went
to
through
it.
this last night. I played the mini games last night just so I like.
I don't
just
own
so I could
FNAF
make
3
sure-
actually.
I got everything right.
But do you know what mini games give you which spirit?
I do.
I keep forgetting.
Balloon Boy gives the Freddy spirit. Chica,
Yep.
Toy Chica gives the Chica spirit.
Yep.
The Fredbear minigame gives the Foxy spirit, which I
Yep.
think is
Mhm.
really interesting.
Which
Considering
we'll talk about.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
the
I have
Shadow
thoughts.
Bonnie spirit.
And then RWQ is Bonnie, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting, and we'll talk about that later. Yeah. Okay. I'll do a quick refresh. So FNAF 3 has minigames. There's minigames that you can play at the end of each night, which are the Follow Me minigames, which is William disassembling the animatronics, which we'll get to later. But then there's the secret minigames, which you can get by clicking different things on the environment of the cameras and your office. I believe that there's the Shadow Bonnie in your office, and that's like the one thing in your office that you click that isn't on cameras.
I think so. Yeah.
No, there's also the
Um,
395248
the
in your
panels.
office.
Yeah, oh yeah, there is
Yeah.
the panels, because someone went insane and started clicking random tiles on the wall. Because back then people didn't look in the files of the game. Like that started with like FNAF 4. Back then they just decided to
looked in
click
the files for FNAF 3. They looked in the files for FNAF 3.
Was it? Because I remember that there being the Scott talking about how people started looking in the files for FNAF 4 specifically. Although it makes sense. I know that in FNAF 1 and 2 people didn't look in the files because they believed like the Sparky and Purple Guy
Yeah.
hoaxes.
No, I'm pretty sure I remember them looking in the files for 3. Because
was-
how else did
yeah.
they find the fucking wall tile?
True. So there's the secret minigames. Each one is to free a soul that you'll get in the Happiest Day, which is probably one of the most confusing endings because it doesn't actually happen, which we can talk about. But we'll go over the minigames one by one, starting with BB's Air Adventure. Just before we get in, the hint. So each minigame has a hint to access it in the Follow Me minigames on the wall. And the hint for this one is pretty obvious. It's BB double click because you've got to double click on a poster of Balloon Boy. It's not playing on the screen right now because I'm stupid and I didn't bother setting up different screens for each minigame. So you can watch Stage 01 right now. I don't care.
Let's go. Fredbear's glitching between realities.
Which we'll get to later. But thoughts initially, because there's a very interesting thing about this minigame specifically.
About Follow Me or BB?
About BB. Follow Me is later.
Okay.
Does anyone want to say anything? Because we need to address the elephant in the room about this minigame.
Are there 6
Why don't you
balloons
start
or
us
are there
off?
7 balloons or
No, the
Why don't you
elephant.
start us off?
The elephant in the room is the giant, shadowy Balloon Boy homunculi that are in the hidden part of the minigame.
Yeah.
What's up with those guys? That's the question, because that's not the only time we get
Yeah.
shadow animatronics in the minigames.
is there 2 or 3? I forget.
There are,
There's
Three under some sort of tree of some sort.
yeah. Actually,
Because if it's 2 or
yeah.
3, you could just connect that back to the newspapers in FNAF 1 with there originally being 2 and then 3 being added later to the MCI.
I'm pretty sure it's 2 Balloon Boys if I remember correctly. Although the video's gonna loop real quick after the ending is done, and we're gonna get back to
I
BB.
think there's 3 under the. I think there's 1 on one side and 2 on the other.
Yeah, I think it's free.
Hang on, I'm watching. I pulled up a video for it.
Yeah, you pull up the video. I don't want to risk the bitrate, even though it's going smoothly. Chat, by the way, tell me if the stream's going well.
Yeah,
I need to confirm.
It's 3. There's 2 on one side, 1 on the other.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the
so
giant tree.
that could be the 3 other MCI that were like later linked to the MCI through the newspapers in FNAF 1.
Yeah.
Is that what we think that is? Well, then what's the tree
Or
about?
it could be like there's an implied 4th one that's just in front of the tree, but at the same time I kind of don't think so because the tears are
I
green.
doubt
The
it.
tears don't show up in front of the tree.
So there's
It's strange
3.
because then
right?
Or it could.
there's
Yeah,
the
it's playing
Chica
now.
one later, which has 4 kids.
It
Yeah,
went.
hold on.
It
I need
went
to
on
pull
the
up
stream
all
right
of
now.
these.
So
Yeah, I see the
There's
throw. Okay,
3.
well, we're kind of covering them up.
yeah, it's not that bad. It was fine. We're on Mango's quest now, so bye bye.
Can I say something insane?
Go off.
Oh no, crack theory already. Sound the
It
alarm.
might be the Death Order. It might be the Death Order. Because in the Chica minigame, you have 4 people who are alive, and then the 5th spirit, or the 5th child is dead. So that could be like Chica dying first. Balloon Boy minigame, the 3 shadowy Balloon Boys represent 3 children who already died. And then, like, Freddy is the 4th one, maybe?
I
And
was looking at this
then
the other
Stage
day.
01.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Stage
can't
01
remember what
might
it was.
mean like Foxy was the 3rd one to die. I don't really know what Shadow Bonnie would be, honestly, because like that one is just
FNAF 2?
so
FNAF
different
2,
from
Shadow
the
Bonnie?
others. Or like
Yeah, there's
the Shadow Bonnie minigame. I don't know what that one would represent, honestly.
why do you
'Cause
think
that one's just a
why do you think Stage 01 would represent the Foxy being the 3rd spirit?
because there's if my memory is correct,
Oh yeah, one of the kids disappears.
like each
Yeah.
one of the kids disappears.
And it leaves 2 in the room, and you would have, yeah, and then it would leave 2 final spirits left. I see what he's saying. Plus, with people theorizing that Chica was the first MCI today, would line up with that theory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird because the way you're supposed to interpret them would change each minigame because the Chica minigame has the 4 cupcakes as well off in the void, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would then be like, okay, in this minigame you have to subtract the number from 5, but in this minigame it's the number. I don't know if it's necessarily like what Scott was even thinking was important at the time in terms of like, oh, this one died first and then this one and then this one. Because it seems later he
Yeah.
specifically focuses on Chica as the first in some way, shape, or form. But in terms of, or even just in her being important, but I don't know if during 3 he was thinking that much about how important it was which order the kids died in. Because I really
Yeah.
cannot figure out what the 4 cupcakes are supposed to be in, or is it 4 or 5?
It's
Is there
5, I
one
think.
following you around?
Yes, it's 5. There's 1 following you and
is.
4 static. Let's go
Yeah.
in order because the Chica minigame is like is like the 3rd one.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little sidetracked. We're
Yeah.
talking about too many things at once.
We need to focus. We need to lock in.
We're gonna bleed info.
We need to lock in on the BB one. Actually, the character encyclopedia has pages for both Shadow BB and Shadow Puppet, so I'm gonna pull that up real quick.
Yeah, I do remember those.
Actually, I
Mhm.
have a question
Yeah.
What's
about
up?
the Balloon Boy minigame specifically.
Mhm.
So, actual Balloon Boy has a red and yellow striped balloon. The balloons you're picking up are red. Why
You're
is his
red.
balloon purple?
The balloon is purple that the Balloon Boy kid is holding
That
in
is true.
FNAF 4.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ah,
I do think in terms of like what Scott was thinking at the time, I think I kind of think that a lot of people tend to look way too deep into game sprites and stuff when in reality they're probably just like stylizations and simplifications of character designs similar to like the original Super Mario Bros arcade machines. Like, you know, you'd have the side art where it's like a fully detailed cartoon character, and then in the game it's just like a jumble of 8-bit pixels that look almost completely different to like each other. So lore wise or in universe wise, I do think that most of, if not all of the mini games kind of just have these oversimplified designs for the characters. But I do think it is possible that when Scott was making the Balloon Kid in FNAF 4, that
Yeah, he went back.
he did base it off of the Balloon Boy sprite in FNAF 3, because a lot of it kind of
Yeah.
seems to be like taking inspiration from earlier things.
Yeah, I don't think the
I'd
Balloon Boy
say
sprite here is simplified though. That's a full color shift. A simplified version would just have a red balloon.
I think from a game design perspective, I think he gave him a purple balloon because the balloons you're collecting are red, and his like almost his whole sprite is red in terms of his shirt. So probably in terms of clarity, where your eye is drawn to, you want to separate the red and like the purple. You can keep your eye focused on because it's the only purple thing on screen. Whereas if you had the red, then it would be blending into those and the shirt. So I could see that being a choice. I think yeah, in 3 it didn't mean anything, but then when he was making 4, he was like, okay, well I'm gonna link them with that purple balloon.
He also linked
It's also
Nightmare
worth
BB with purple
mentioning-
because all the blue on Nightmare BB is replaced by purple in that game.
Mm.
It's
very
also
true,
worth
except for
mentioning
his trousers.
how old older video games also kind of did a similar thing. Um it's kind of like in the original Super Mario Bros. Game. I'm gonna use Mario as my main example because I feel like it's the best one. But in the original Super Mario Bros. Game, Mario had red overalls and a brown shirt. Meanwhile, the actual cover art typically showed him with a blue shirt. So, and that was typically to contrast it with the blue colored sky in the background. So it is technically an oversimplification. It's just that changing certain details is part of that oversimplification. It's like a oversimplification slash stylization.
Okay, so I have the character encyclopedia here in front of me, and there is something interesting about Shadow BB that I want to talk about. Okay. This is interesting. This is interesting. So I have the Shadow Balloon Boy who appears in the character encyclopedia. I have the page open, and the main like tagline isn't interesting. It's just whatever. It's just describing how to get him. And then there's the tagline, which says, "The sunken place. This is where the Shadow Balloon Boys live. Black silhouettes of BB with a stream of gray tears falling from their eyes. You don't have to avoid them, you can just walk straight past them on your way to the hidden game area where the 8th balloon is." What the hell is the sunken place? First off, cool name, but what the hell is the sunken place?
Giving underwater vibes.
Drowning,
For
maybe.
sure.
Drowning.
Drowning, maybe.
It
I
definitely
definitely
does
think it
remind
Like in
me
a
could be
red
referring
lake?
to.
Maybe.
Oh, I do kind of think it's referring to how you like during the normal first screen of BB's Air Adventure, you're like in a normal screen and then you clip through the wall and then you fall down. So it could be referring to how you have to fall down to a lower area in order to find
I think
them.
all of them, yeah. Do all of them you have to fall directly down and then you land in like the glitchy space?
I know
I'm
that
pretty
in
sure you
Mango's
do.
Quest, Mango's Quest is the
Except
You
for-
same.
need to do
except
that
for Shadow.
for yeah, for most of that, yeah, it's the same thing with for the Mangle mini game, that's how you find Shadow Puppet. For the Chica mini game, that's how you find the Shadow Cupcakes. The Fredbear one doesn't have that. And
Yeah.
for Shadow Bonnie, you kind of cycle through each mini
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, there's no
So
falling.
I guess it's kind of similar. It also has a very similar background to the backgrounds that are used in the
Transition
in the
screens.
other
The
mini
glitch
games
screens,
where
yeah.
those appear. Yeah, the glitchy screens.
It's
So
like
that's kind of interesting.
it's almost as if Shadow Bonnie is one of the shadow entities in those minigames, in those secret parts, but he's broken free somehow and gotten his own control. But I think all of these minigames have a theme of
Kind
falling,
of.
right? Because the way to do stage 01 is you
Mhm.
go down, then you go right, then you go down, then you go right, then you go all the way up, if I remember. I just know you have to go down at first.
Yeah, there's I think and as well we when you tie it into FNAF World, they refer to going down layers. You're going further down and then you've gone as deep as you can when you get to oh man, consequences, or at least that's what he tells you, and then you have to sink into the lake to go down further to the final layer. So I think the sunken place could be a word to describe, the like you've got the flip side, which is like I suppose FNAF world, and then the sunken place is the layers beneath that, the the kind of glitchy worlds that you can get into through the tunnel.
Can I? It's playing on
Interesting, I've
stream
never
right
heard that
now.
term before.
It's fortunate that it's playing on the stream right now. But what do we think is up with the tree? Why is the tree important? There is a connection of a tree to the MCI. There is tree imagery connected to the MCI. But what do we think?
Yeah, because there's that tree above the graves.
Yeah, I do think it could just represent death in general almost. Maybe, at least like at this point. Back then, no idea, but now it kind of seems like um some type of it represents some type of resting place maybe.
Yeah, I've really tried to look at that sprite of the tree and be like, is it supposed to be something else, or is it supposed to be a tree? Because it looks like a tree, but I was trying to look at it and see, is it like some other thing that we're
It's
not,
Bounce
like,
Spot.
because
It's Bounce
Yeah.
Spot from FNAF World.
it's bad spot.
Canon.
This is a teaser.
Bounce Spot, who's in
Yeah,
UCN.
I can't see
Hmm.
anything other than a tree.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
that's the thing.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
not
weird.
getting
It's so
anything else.
round. It's so round.
It's
It
the
feels like
storyteller.
it's a storyteller. Oh my god.
Mm.
Oh,
Mr. Burrows. Mr. Burrows is William Afton. Confirmed.
Mmm.
You see,
Because
here,
it has those two branching with the one in the center.
because here's the thing, right? The tree from Ruined, the tree from Security Breach, and the tree from FNAF 6 are all the same tree. I have made a theory on this in the
Right.
past. They are all the same tree. The flowers on the ground are the same. The leaf patterns are the same. Maybe the illustrations aren't one-to-one, but the setting matches up as if it's one tree, or at least in the same spot over a period of time.
I definitely believe there's the same tree. The Ruin one it shows just a little bit more of the tree, so that's the one that I was using as
Well,
the
not only that, in
example.
Ruin, you have the 5 balloons rising up too.
Right.
Yeah. So are we done with Balloon Boy? Because
Yeah, I'd say we'll circle back around.
we'll
maybe,
circle
but-
back. We'll withered circle back around when we get to.
Withered circle,
I mean,
gooning
don't we
circle,
have to
red
You know,
visit this
looking at
game
before we move
twice?
on,
We technically will, yes.
What was that, Malagata?
before we move on, if you look at the way it curves over to the left in the Balloon Boy minigame, and then you pull up the image from the Brazil ending of Ruin, it's actually curved the opposite way, like it's flipped.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the flipped side.
Also,
Oh.
the Brazil ending is a hallucination. It's like it's messed up. It's not an actual ending. It's just Cassie getting her
Yeah, but it
mind
seems to be
messed up.
it's drawing on some form of reality, or like the ideas of, like, 'cause it's the same image as like the happy ending from Security Breach as well, with Gregory and Freddy and Vanessa,
And
which has
yeah.
that same tree. So I suppose something about that, we can take that as like a more clear representation of that same image, which is, I presume, supposed to be the same tree as from the graves. And I think, yeah, you're right, it does look actually like it's supposed to be that tree but flipped.
I do think it's
wonder actually,
kind
what
of
does it look like?
interesting how throughout both the Ruin and Security Breach ending with the tree, you have 3 figures under there, and then with the FNAF 3 minigame, you have 3 balloon boys under the tree. So it could possibly represent like another, like, I'm not saying it represents Gregory, Vanessa, and some other third thing like years in the past. I just mean like it could represent some type of maybe not like some active other party, or maybe it represents something Scott might have been planning at the time, and you could maybe interpret it to be something like Mike, Elizabeth, and Crying Child, like them already being passed away or something like that. I really don't know, but I do think like the weird connection of like 3 people being under that tree. That's like I wouldn't call it like maybe on purpose, but it's an interesting coincidence at least.
Oh
family.
no, it's this
I
guy.
thought-
T dreads, bro.
Oh no, it's a candle man. We gotta fight him.
family
Is that
tree.
the Candleman?
Oh, he just
All
left.
right,
Okay.
Family
know-
tree.
The
You know
family
when else-
tree.
He's right.
When else do you see 3 people under a tree?
When?
Princess Quest ending.
Ah. And you know what else you see free people?
Popped it in the side chat.
You know what else we see free people? The FNAF World
No.
Old Man Consequences ending.
Mm.
And you know what else is
Mm.
interesting? Someone brought this up in chat that if the first, or one of the first, if I remember, ways to get into the flip side in FNAF World is through a glitching tree. I think it's the first one actually.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I saw that
There's
message. Was
tree,
that?
there's rock, there's tombstone, there's dead tree, and then there's another rock.
Also, another interesting thing that I was thinking about, which we'll get to Shadow Puppet later, but FNAF 3 has 3 Shadow Puppets, 3 Shadow BBs, and 1 Shadow Puppet. And then Help Wanted introduces a Shadow Mangle. Now, all of these are FNAF 2 characters, and there's 5 of them. And how many bodies do we see in Save Them?
5 with the 6th
Mm.
bloodstain.
The 6th Bloodstain
Sixth
isn't a
Bloodstain
body,
is
so cry
real.
about it.
Oh, here we go.
No. I think it's a
Sixth
body, actually.
Bloodstained
I think
Trooper.
it's a body. I
One
think
kid
there's
just
6.
had a whole lot of blood.
Yeah, he did. He had
No,
10
there's-
liters
they're
in there.
ketchup stains.
It's the pizza
See,
sauce.
there is a huge like because I can't remember who I was talking to recently about this, but it's just in general at Happiest Day. Every Happiest Day minigame is related in some way to FNAF 2. And I know you might say, well, what about Fredbear's Family Diner? We were only just introduced to Fredbear's in FNAF 2. That was the first time we'd heard about it. So to see Balloon Boy, Mangle, Toy Chica, specifically Toy Chica, Shadow Bonnie, and then Fredbear's Family Diner, all of which were introduced to us in FNAF 2. It's very, there's some sort of direct connection between Bite Victim, or at least just Golden Freddy in general, and that golden suit that was used in FNAF 2 to Happiest Day, and specifically to the minigames. I think I have my own ideas as to why there's direct connections. I don't know how many of you are are God Victim subscribers, but
I subscribe to God.
Explain your victim.
Not
Firmly
Ear
I know
Victim.
Raven.
Blue victim.
I know Raven has heard of Ear Victim.
Yes, because I was in
Ear
the video,
victim.
and then you made me watch it.
Yeah, and it was peak. It was peak chat.
I have yet to investigate Ear Victim.
No, don't ask.
Dude,
Wait,
the
is he
thing
a
is,
real
Ear
thing?
Victim
I thought
actually
you guys were
makes kind of
bullshitting.
sense, though.
Oh, you want to know what Ear Victim is?
I don't think we do on stream.
I think you do want to know what Ear Victim is, but that'll be for another day.
Oh no, do
That's
we have
very
to do an
heavy
Ear
on
Victim
really
stream?
Want to become an ear victim?
You need to experience Ear Victim for yourself.
Okay. If you say so. Shall we move on to Mangle's Quest? Is that the second one? Am I getting this right?
Yes.
We spent half an
Yeah,
hour
that's
on
the second
BB.
one.
Time to build
Just
a
so you know.
mangle.
Notes
Am I right
on...
in saying Mango's Quest? You only get the
You only get the
cake,
balloon.
You don't.
Yeah.
Or the
You
cake,
only-
yeah. You only get the cake.
Yeah.
There's no child there.
You have to deliver the cake. The cake, like delivering the cake is later.
Yeah.
So, notes.
I mean, if you want to, I think
go ahead.
it's been like pretty directly like hinted at now that Withered Foxy probably did the Bite of 87, as little a sense as that makes. But if you wanted to connect Mangle to a birthday party, the end of FNAF 2 would be the one to do that. Like the reason that Mangle's the one giving cake specifically, if you wanted to connect, specifically Mangle to a birthday, that'd be. I suppose that could be a connection if you wanted to say Mangle might have been the Bite of 87 on that last birthday in the FNAF 2 location, which might be why they're the one giving the cake.
Although,
Doesn't
they don't give the
Chica
cake.
give cake in her mini?
Balloon Boy gives cake.
What's up?
Balloon
Gives
Boy, yeah,
cupcakes.
yeah, she gives cupcakes, so that's different.
I mean, as in why we have to collect the cake as Mangle specifically, rather than give it to a spirit. Because all of them you have to give the spirits the cake, but you can't do that until you've collected the cake as Mangle.
Scott just couldn't think of a fifth idea, which is dumb. He could have just done it with a withered animatronic, and it would have worked perfectly.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that you have to get the Balloon Boy balloons and the Mangle cake, and then go back and do Balloon Boys again.
It's almost as if he couldn't come up with the fourth one. Oh my god, it's this guy again.
Uh-oh.
Fight him,
After
fight him,
going 3 minutes,
Cosmic
let me
Terminal, we
speak
gotta
my
fight him.
truth.
T
Let me
Dreads,
speak my truth.
weren't you on a date or
Speak.
something? You said you couldn't come
Oh,
on.
man.
This guy's a liar.
I have to go in 3 minutes. I have to speak my truth.
Okay, speak.
Okay.
The minigame where we collect the birthday cake to give to the birthday boy is the same one with the giant silhouette that looks like the crying child from FNAF 4 leaving.
No, it doesn't.
Or kneeling. Fuck you with that circle. He's the receiver.
That was okay.
Bro.
You do not accept the
Cassidy
truth.
receiver is bullshit. True.
BV receiver's bullshit, even though it makes sense.
Or wait,
narratively.
no, because wait, but wouldn't that mean Crying Child is the cake? Chat, hear me out.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Crying Child is the
I've
cake.
legitimately said this before. I've legitimately
Yeah, I
talked about
feel like I've heard this. I've heard this from someone. I don't know if it was on Withered, but I've heard it from someone. And honestly, I kind of like it.
It's such a funny
I think
concept.
it's funny, and I think it makes sense.
Screw
I think
Andrew
it's funny, and
Pizza,
I think it
BV
makes
cake.
sense, and I think it's
BV cake.
watered down Andrew Pizza, but better, infinitely better. I love
It is
Andrew
infinitely
Pizza.
better.
Yeah, I have a more. Yeah, I don't think he's literally has been turned into cake, but it's essentially a way of having your cake and eating it too with Cassidy Receiver and Bite Victim Happiest Day. It's basically the Happiest Day is being set up for or through the Bite Victim's memories, but the MCI children are the ones benefiting from that. Because if you think about it, if we're saying Happiest Day is the reversal of the Bite of 83, then you still have to replace the 4 bullies with the MCI kids, and so you can kind of say that each of the MCI kids, including Cassidy, are taking the place of someone who was a part of that memory. And that
Have you read the Fazbear Fright series? Just curious about that because there is
bits and pieces, but
okay, great.
Yeah.
Because I want to bring up something really interesting, a really interesting concept that's introduced in Fazbear Frights. So
Giving
basically,
someone
what
else your
happens?
happiest day.
Yeah. So like, you can just do that. Apparently, you can just shove good memories onto other people and make them have a happiest day out of your good memories. So my interpretation of happiest day, and I know this might be jumping the gun a little bit, but my interpretation of happiest day is that each of the MCI children, including Cassidy, are stuck inside of happiest day because of crying child's memories. They're kind of being attached to them. So it's kind of similar to how a good memory can cause a happiest day, cause a spirit to move on. A bad memory can cause a spirit to be stuck almost. And that's what each mini game is in Happiest Day. It's a bad memory from the crying child that has to be made good. And it could be that or well, let me say this first. I do think that the way this happens is because Crying Child saw the 5 plushies, the characters of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Fredbear. He saw them as his friends, so his memories kind of stuck onto those characters, and then by extension the MCI kids. But what I was gonna say is that I do think it could be possible, again, kind of what you said with having your cake and eating it too. It could be possible that the reason why we play as Mangle, or like, the future reason why, the kind of like redone reason why, because obviously all of this wasn't thought of during FNAF 3, but like now it could be the reason why that we play as Mangle, a character who needs to collect their own pieces and then collect the cake, which it needs to be brought to each MCI children. And then in order to
Hmm.
put him back together, so to speak, you need to bring the cake to each MCI child, and then that kind of like again, he's not physically present at the FNAF 3 Happiest Day, but it's still putting his memories back together. It's still making those bad memories into good ones and putting them back together, thus freeing the crying child, which I think, again,
That's
jumping the gun a little bit, I do kind of think that the Red Lake ending we see in FNAF World with the 3 silhouettes in front of the TV, I do think that's crying child's happiest day because of the
mm.
secret happiest day text, and then probably
I like
No,
that a
you're
lot
good.
actually. I like the
It's
idea that
interesting.
Mangle is specifically the non-spirit minigame and has to put the pieces of Mangle together first before you then can help the rest of them. I like that a lot.
yeah.
I was gonna say something,
I
but I forgot.
yeah, good. I have
Oh.
to tie into that Mangle thing if we want to keep on that point.
as well.
I've said it before, and I don't know. People like it, don't like it, whatever. I 4 has obviously changed quite a lot since the game came out. I think it
I
wasn't.
agree.
Not that it was Dream Theory or anything like that, but I think Scott had certain intentions about that game when it came out that then changed later with Sister Location. But one of the things that I've been, thinking about for a while and kind of I feel quite solidly on is that the Fredbear plush, whether it was Charlie or somebody else, was supposed to be the sister, the missing sister in the room next to bite victims, for a couple of different reasons. But one in particular is that the Mangle toy is in the sister's room, and that if the final speaker is the same as the Fredbear plush or is supposed to be representative of the sister, that I will put you back together, linking that character to the Mangle, which is the first time we hear about it is a take apart but back together attraction, using that as symbology to represent a child who is already, a fan or does like to put things back together. I think could be quite strong, connecting it then to Mangle's quest as well, and specifically why Scott chose that one of the FNAF 3 minigames to be connected to that character. So I really like that idea that Mangle's, and then it's Mangle's quest. It's the girl represented by Mangle's quest to put things back together and collect the cake. And if that's representative of Charlie, that could be really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I do I do get what you're saying. At the same time, like personally, I kind of find it hard to believe that or well no, I can see like if are you saying that like for the sister pre-sister location, she would be like a spirit that's haunting the Fredbear plush?
I think it might have been Charlie, like the puppet, because I think that was before Scott really made the hard rule. Because we at the time we didn't know how the puppet came to be. It wasn't until Security Puppet that Scott sort of solidified that the puppet crawled outside and was there when she died. But at the time we didn't know if the puppet was anywhere near her when she died, if she just sort of her spirit found her way into the puppet, if it was made for her or whatever. So I think Scott even said after 4 that one of his goals was to make things more tangible, to make things less interpretive, and if one of those ways was to not make the plush just sort of haunted by one of the other spirits that we already knew. I also think that the two of them look like each other. Then you've got the Fredbear plush looking like the crying child, who eventually becomes Golden Freddy, and then you have the crying child dressed in black and white stripes, looking like the puppet. So you kind of have the two of them mirror.
I definitely think the Fredbear plush could. Oh yeah, I definitely think that whoever we're playing as in the FNAF 3 minigames, I do think it's probably Charlie, just because when we go to Happiest Day, the puppet spirit is the only one who's able to move around. So I do think
And you have to
like
click on a puppet poster.
yeah, sorry. You have to click on the puppet poster. Puppet's the only one who moves around. When you get the when Phantom Puppet activates, you see like the normal puppet inside of a hallway. So I do think all
Mhm.
of that kind of hints towards um Charlie, the puppet spirit, is the one who's kind of actively going through each FNAF 3 minigame. And I definitely think it fits thematically with, like, you know, the puppet being a guardian, so to speak, of the MCI children. I do think, like, maybe it's possible that Charlie could still be the Fredbear plush. I don't really want to talk about that because that's a
Yeah.
whole other bag of stuff. But you know, there's like, by now I kind of think Scott himself moved on from it just because, like, FNAF worlds and tying it into like weird meta narrative stuff. But that's a discussion for, that's for an entirely different discussion.
Okay, so we kind of just went over Mango's Quest and Balloon Boy's Air Adventure, but Mango's Quest has the Shadow Puppet, and T-Dreads bumped in to say that it looks like the Crying Child, which I don't think it does. What do we think is the
I think it
deal?
does.
Well, it's the
I think it
kneeling
does.
and crying.
Yeah, the kneeling and
at the end of
crying, I
FNAF 4
agree.
when he's in the
Same
void. No, it's at the
Oh,
exact
yeah,
same
oh,
pose
yeah,
at
I
the end
was-
of FNAF
It
4.
is actually.
Yeah, I was
In the
gonna
same
say
orientation,
that
yeah.
too. It could also, yeah, I was gonna say that too. It could also, like, that kneeling puppet, that kneeling crying puppet, and how Crying Child kind of looks like that at the ending of FNAF 4. That could also represent, like, you know, the whole being scattered amongst all the memories and all of that, and Crying Child, or the Mangle Quest minigame kind of, and the cakes kind of representing the Crying Child. Yada yada yada, all of just what I said before, but the puppet kneeling could also just, like, lend to that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in the first 4 games, it really seems like it's building up to Crying Child possessing the puppet. Like, save him, the black and white stripes, the kneeling imagery, the tears, like him being the only character that cries other than the other
It's
MCI.
very implied.
It's very implied. And then at some point in, like, sister location to FNAF 6, like the transition from core 4 click team games to the more better written sister location in 6, Scott just went, nah.
Yeah.
I do think that everything
well,
past
how do
FNAF
you-
4 is better written. Like, absolutely. I don't think it's even debatable.
I agree with that, but how do you think the Crying Child was supposed to have ended up in Save Him? Like, you know,
I don't know. I don't.
if the intention was
Yeah,
that he was
that's kind
supposed
of the
to be.
problem.
That's why I think it makes, I think it is cleaner if he's just the Golden Freddy spirit, because then it's like he's the one that's sad on his birthday. There's no 5th kid. Charlie's the 5th kid, or there's a mix-up, or he, you know, you can go the dual process route and say he was somehow one of the missing kids. I think it's cleaner if Scott either hand waved the 5th one away or just was like, you know, oh, people will come up with an explanation. He's Golden Freddy because he dies. He gets bitten in Golden Freddy, and, you know, whatever. I think the him being the puppet when we see on screen exactly how the puppet died is harder to hand wave away. It's harder to go, okay, so he gets bit, he ends up in hospital, then he flatlines, and then at some point he ends up outside the building when a car pulls up and stabs him.
Hold the question.
That like, unless Scott was just
Well,
like,
we didn't really know that Save Him was about the puppet until FNAF 6.
Yes, we
No,
did.
we do.
Yes, we did.
We got a
Because
little bit
the
of
jump
the
scare.
jump scare, but that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but each
it's
of the
heavily.
minigames
I
has
feel
the
like
jump scare
Each of the
related to that
minigames, yeah,
character.
it associates directly to the character.
Yeah.
You have Golden
What?
Freddy for his minigame.
Hang on.
Listen, you've got Give Gift, Give Life, right? Give Gift, Give Life is the MCI.
How does Save Them end? Does Save Them have a jump scare?
Save
only one that
them.
doesn't.
It ends with
Okay.
static or
Which
a
is-
purple guy jump
Right,
scare,
right,
which
okay.
I
barely
think
counts.
is evidence for DCI not possessing anything, but anyway.
Ah,
Ayo.
heyo. That's we'll have a We already talked about this in the last FNAF Theorists team up, but we can talk some other time. But my point
I
is
just
that
pulled up the Save Them minigame. There's a puppet jump scare.
no,
What's
there
up?
isn't.
Wait, puppet
I
jump
mean,
scare
it could
where?
be edited in.
No, it's edited in. Trust me, I've played that minigame. I know that there's. Oh, that's save him. We said save them.
Oh, I misheard.
Yeah, Save Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Save him is
Save
puppet.
him has the puppet.
So save him as the puppet, which connects to Puppet. Give
So
Gifts
that's
Give
Puppet,
Life is Golden Freddy because
That's
we
Golden
see
Freddy.
we see
and
the fifth
Foxy's
MCI kid
Foxy.
and Foxy's Foxy. Yeah. Save Them doesn't have one because it's not showing us because the other ones are all related to possession. This is a point to what Unwithered said. The other ones we are directly seeing a possession happen basically because we know that Charlie like instantly possessed the puppet, and Give Gift Give Life is all about possession, and Foxy Go Go Go
That's a
is
sentence. That's a sentence.
shh. Yeah, I know
Oh
you
wait,
disagree.
Foxy Go 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 isn't possession at all. Wait,
It's
Foxy.
right
What?
before the
How's Foxy Go
MCI.
Go Go about
It's
possession?
right. It's right, but after the MCI, they're about to get stuffed by William.
Mm,
So there's no reason for the puppet to be the jump
Hold on,
scare
let me
if
see
it's not
something.
Yeah, if it's not related.
relevant to the minigame.
No, I get that. I just disagree with everything else that's being said.
I'm with you, Cryo.
Rough. No, I don't believe this.
Wait, disagree with
I was
what?
just thinking it's an interesting call out, but I was just making that up on the go. I don't know what the jump scares have to do, like why there's 3 jump scares and then one of them just doesn't have one. I don't know why that's the case.
I think that could mean that could mean something. It's also the
Yeah,
fact that
Well, I
just
think,
there really
yeah.
isn't much relevance in say
or
just play the follow me jump scare sound.
I do think with kind of going back to what I think it was Unwithered and Withered Circle. Back to kind of what you guys said about Crying Child's role and him being like the puppet or the Golden Freddy spirit. I honestly think that it's just the cleanest if Crying Child being the puppet and Crying Child being Golden Freddy. They both have almost the exact same problems because the problem is that we see how each way the back of a restaurant by the purple guy driving up and killing them. We see the MCI children die. They're all depicted in Give Gifts Give Life and Foxy Go 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 to all kind of be together alive and then killed all around the same time. And, you know, we see a similar thing with the FNAF 1 newspaper. And then for the Crying Child, we see him getting bitten and then definitively dying because of the flatline in FNAF 4. So, you know, there's this big problem of like, okay, so either Crying Child is one of these characters through he somehow lives before, dies, possesses these characters, gets resurrected, and then dies in the bite, and all of that kind of
Whoa.
happens unexplained and off screen. Or he dies in the bite, somehow gets resurrected again off screen, and then he possesses the puppet somehow, which, you know, obviously not anymore. Or in Golden Freddy's case, he's lured to the back room of by a gigantic rabbit, something he is shown multiple times to be so scared of that he'll hide under a table. So, like, I always think that's kind of a like a silly thing to point out because like whenever I hear theories about Crying Child being the 5th MCI kid, it's like they were all lured by a gigantic rabbit mascot, and that's the thing Crying Child is afraid of. So
Yeah, I
all
think
of these kind of have the same problem, and I genuinely think it's cleanest for all of them to just be individual characters, regardless of like possible connections of like, you know, Crying Child having a striped shirt or Fredbear biting the Crying Child. Like, you know, I do think it's kind of the same thing of like people theorizing that the bullies were supposed to be the other MCI children. Like, of course you could make those connections, but we know very well that, especially by now, we know very well that that's not true, regardless of those like visual connections, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, it's weird because you're right. Regardless, you have to do a lot of bending over backwards, and I agree when people say like BB fifth I never have heard like an explanation that makes perfect sense to me. Like it's either he gets taken out or William fakes his kidnapping or says he was kidnapped and then they relate it later on. There's a lot of issues with it regardless.
It's a lot
I
of
think the
stuff
only
that
one
you kind of have
that's
to say is off screen and that you would never
yeah,
see and that never gets explained.
the only one that I feel right about or feel like is somewhat satisfying if you want to make Bite Victim the Golden Freddy kid, as it seems to be implied nowadays, at least with stuff like the week before. The only thing that I find satisfying is if you say that the newspapers only mention that there are 3 other kids linked to the incident where they're lured into the back room. So Charlie going missing outside of the establishment could have been one of the 5 kids because she's always put with the other 4 and Golden Freddy is always separate. Even in Happiest Day, the 5 of them, as in Charlie and the other 4, are on one side of the table and Golden Freddy's on the other side. Give life. They're all together, and then Golden Freddy shows up at the end in the FNAF 4 office or the FNAF 2 office. Even on the table, 4 of the plushies are on one side of the desk. Golden Freddy's on the other side of the desk on his own. So if you want to do this kind of separation, you can say, oh well, Charlie's just linked to the incident because she goes missing. Now you could say, well, how wouldn't they have found her body? But maybe Fazbear covered it up or something. So that's the only way I can say it makes sense if Bite Victim is the 5th, or is not the 5th. That Charlie's the 5th, and Bite Victim is just Golden Freddy. But
I mean,
even then, you still have issues with that.
Narrow Raven left us.
Yeah, Raven got a headache.
no.
He's not feeling that great, so I let him go.
Okay.
Yeah, listen to the yapping.
I just
I
it's
don't
not
like
the
that.
yapping. He had a rough day earlier. He was very busy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go make it worse.
Yeah,
Yapping definitely made it worse.
that's your yeah. We definitely did, but
No, I have a very annoying voice. I don't know if he's listening. Unwithered, are you still there?
I am sorry. I was just coughing.
Oh, okay, you're good. So about the newspapers with like the 5 missing children incident stuff.
Mhm.
So what the newspaper directly says is 5 children now reported missing, suspect convicted. 5 children are now linked to the incident at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza where a man dressed as a cartoon mascot lured them into a back room. So like definitively, like no going around it, it directly relates those 5 children being lured into a back room by a man in a mascot costume. So like all this to say, like, I don't really understand what you mean.
So I agree, but what I should have been clearer. The wording of it is that they're linked, and the assumption that the newspaper is making is that because the 2 were caught on camera, the other 3 that are now linked are linking his method of killing to them because they never find the bodies. So, and they don't mention having seen it on camera. They say it's linked. Now, again, we're talking about Scott during FNAF 1 writing newspapers and misspelling things and using the wrong words for stuff. So he mightn't have been thinking this, deeply about it. But what I mean is the newspaper is making an assumption. They go, oh, 5 kids have all gone missing around Freddy's. 2 of them were caught on camera going into a back room with this guy. So surely he used the same method with all of them. But the point is that 3 of them, that nobody knows how they actually died, but they're linking all of them because they're saying, well, it was the same, we're presuming that the 5 kids that are reported missing have all died because of this guy. But, you can talk about the semantics of the wording. That's all I mean is to say that's the only explanation I've heard that I'm like, maybe Scott could go, oh, well, you thought the newspaper was sure, but if you look back, it never says definitively that anyone knows what's happened to all the kids. So one of them actually didn't die that way. It's not very satisfying and it's not very obvious either. It's just as in I can see it as an explanation which could potentially work given the framework of FNAF's 1 to 4. Or even 1 to 3,
what
I guess.
you're saying. I do see what you're saying. At the same time, I feel like by now, that kind of evidence, where it's like, oh, it's wordplay, it's trickery, it's skullduggery. I feel like by now, especially when
I don't think it's true now.
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say I was mentioning about all the like kind of twists and turns you had to make with like Bite Victim possessing Golden Freddy and the puppet. That's not even mentioning like the spin-off media, like the movie
Yeah.
or the novels where Golden Freddy is where it's essentially like reboots of the series or
Yeah.
reinterpretations of the series, and none of them have ever had anything similar to the Crying Child or the role the Crying Child is in to be
Mhm.
Golden Freddy. And I think that's like I know a lot of people aren't gonna say like, oh yeah, you shouldn't use the books to like learn the game lore or whatever like that. But at the same time, these are still like reboots of the official story. They're still official reboots of the official story for a general audience. So I think it would be weird to be like, oh yeah, this is the game lore and we're going to adapt it to a movie
Mhm.
so it's better for general audiences, but at the same time that adaptation is going to be completely different from the game lore, and like it'll just make things way more confusing, and by now it's especially hard to believe that that's the intention, that like
Mhm.
the
Oh
game
yeah.
lore is supposed to be this different when it's kind of just hammering in the same thing over and
Mhm.
over again, especially with the like abundant lack of Crying Child imagery. Aside from the week before, obviously I do think the week before is kind of hinting at Crying Child becoming relevant in some way, shape, or form again. But at the same time, I do think it's possible for the Crying Child to be relevant in a vastly different light than just being Golden Freddy or just replacing Cassidy, because
Yeah.
people just want Crying Child as Golden Freddy. And I feel like especially by now it just wouldn't work. But
I,
and
I
I
agree.
know I'm yapping a lot.
No,
No, you're
I,
good.
It's
I,
just sorry. I
it's all good.
I'm sorry. I yap so much. Oh my god.
No,
But
it's fine.
kind of
I was
kind of
just
just to say that like
finish your point.
oh sorry, you go.
No, finish your point. Finish your
No,
point.
I could go on for so long. You go first. I don't want you to forget something.
No, I'm not forgetting something. I'm just saying that we've been on this minigame for like half an hour. We should move on.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm sorry.
I've
I'm
been
sorry.
It's all
waiting
good.
to mention something about this minigame.
Oh, okay. No,
I'm
Mamakato, you
so
go.
sorry.
It's all good. We all
Again,
yap here.
I warned you guys before the stream. I yap
Hey,
so
it's all
much,
good.
and I
It's
do
all good. No hard feelings. It's
but
all fun here.
No, you're
yeah,
so
no.
fine.
My main point is just like you could do all of these things with Golden Freddy and the Crying Child, and I feel like just like essentially shoving the Crying Child into a suit that's already full isn't necessarily needed. I feel like he could do a lot more like interesting things. Like I think Shatter Victim is a way more like a wandering spirit is a way more interesting concept than just replacing Cassidy and putting a different spirit to do the exact same thing, and then just having Cassidy as this like, huh?
Oh no.
Victim.
Oh,
No.
victim.
I'm going under understandable concepts within the continuity. I don't want to touch that thing.
Oh, victim.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Mamakato, what did you want to say?
touch that.
Yeah.
I just think it's
no.
interesting
Yeah.
how it's very,
Sorry.
very obviously shown to us that this minigame is taking place at nighttime, and yet there is a child just running around in what is presumably the pizzeria
Is this
Hmm.
in
Wait, which
Mango's
one?
Quest?
Mango's
in
Quest.
Mango's Quest.
It's
Oh,
clearly
yeah.
at night through the windows. And
For anyone who
Chica's
forgot,
party
we
is
are
the same.
talking about Mango's Quest.
I
Not
did
anymore.
forget, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Not anymore. We're not talking about Mango's Quest anymore. We're gonna okay. I'm gonna try to like concisely zoom for the past like 3, because there's not that much. There's like one subject that I want to touch on in Chica's party. Then there's one thing that I have been waiting to say since the beginning of the stream, but I want to bring it up when it's on topic. Then we're gonna do Shadow Bonnie. Then we're gonna move on to Follow Me, which should be a bit quicker. But for Chica's party, I just wanted to ask what your opinions are on the secret room with the shadow cupcakes, where one of them is chasing you and 4 of them are still. Does anyone have any idea
I
what the
need
hell that
to-
means?
I need to actually check what that is.
So
Because
it's
I was looking up these mini games again real quick just to remind myself, and I have
Mhm.
Yeah,
not
same
seen a
here.
video with that in it.
the
Yeah, I haven't either.
it's rare actually. There's not much footage of it for some reason. Like I have tried to find it, and I have found one video from like a decade ago at this point, and no other recorded like footage of it happening.
Okay.
But it's on
Are we
streams and
sure
stuff.
this is real?
It's real. It's
It
it's in
is,
the
it's real.
files. It's real.
It's real.
Like it's just for some reason not many people find it, but it is real and it is there.
Apparently it's a secret ending. I was looking at the wiki on this the other day, and it says that like you have to do something specific. You have to go to a room and then like wait there, and you fall through the floor or something. I think it's and you have
Okay,
to go
I'm
back
watching
to
someone
do
do
it.
it now. Someone falls through the floor.
Yeah, there's
Send
like
it to me.
I'm gonna link it. In
there's like
the
a
side
spot
chat.
where you fall through the floor and it just leads you to that room with the cupcakes for some reason.
Here, one sec. I'll link it in the side chat. I've never seen this.
But it is real. Like there's no debating that it's real. Yeah, that's actually it's by the game Salmon. That's the video that I used. This is like one of the few
Definitely.
records of this for some reason.
I do think it could represent that the person we're playing as is some type of spirit. Because I never really interpreted it as the cupcake is chasing us. I always interpreted it as like it's a mirror almost. Like it's showing these spirits that are in place and then another spirit that can freely move around almost. Kind of like representing how the puppet spirit can freely move around, but the other MCI spirits can't.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because he even in this video he doesn't actually go over to the side where you can see the other four that don't
yeah.
move.
No, I don't think it
I
was this
mean,
one that I
yeah.
used, but I know of a video where someone does that. I'm gonna get FNAF free for myself and record myself playing for these minigames, just so I can get the shadow cupcakes. But for a while, I thought that this was like, oh, the fifth cupcake is the vengeful spirit, Cassidy. But then I'm Andrew's the vengeful spirit now, so much to your own chagrin, I don't care.
No.
Andrew is the vengeful spirit. But assuming like let's just assume, right? Let's just assume this has nothing to do with the vengeful spirit. What could this be if not that?
Scott being like, it's spooky, it's weird.
The explanation
it.
for
That's just
everything.
Yeah, I
not being like
definitely
there's
think
that
I honestly
there's
think that was the
five and one of
original
them's just
intent with all of
spooky.
these mini games. It's just I definitely think that's the original intent with all these mini games. It's just supposed to be spooky stuff.
Valid.
Yeah, like I think yeah, like Scott probably was thinking along the lines of, okay, what is this? Like we're playing mini games, but they're sort of tied to the spirits. It's like this kind of it's kind of the birthing ground of the flip side, I suppose, from 4, where he's going, yeah, the video games are kind of representative of this like other world, and it's abstract and weird, and there's like a giant puppet that's in the shadows and it's crying, and there's like a tree with like spirits underneath it, and they're reflective of what's going on, and oh, what if there's like a creepy one that's following you around? I think it could be that simple in terms of what the I don't know if it's necessarily maybe you could say yeah, there's 4 of them, one of them is walking around, that's supposed to be the first of the victims, because it's Chica, or it could just be this one is particularly active in this other world. It's just for some reason it can see us, it can see whatever character we're playing as, whether that's Bite Victim or whoever. And then actually now I'm just thinking about it. In FNAF world, the spooky eyes, if we assume, I'm not assuming whoever spooky eyes is, you can say it's Charlie or William or whoever, but spooky eyes says, I will put you back together. But then it says, the pieces are in place for you, all you have to do is find them, which implies that the putting you back together isn't something that the spooky eyes fully does. Like the spooky eyes makes it possible, but it's not the spooky eyes job to finish it. So I suppose the idea that Bite Victim is Happiest Day, is the player of Happiest Day in a sense, is the one that's playing as Toy Chica and Mangle and whatever. That's why we're playing as those characters, because they're related to his memories. It's representative. Bite Victim's the one doing it. He put the pieces back together, but the pieces were put in place by the spooky eyes. So that can definitely be an argument for Bite Victim not being any of the 6 that are in Happiest Day. He's just the one doing it.
Interesting. We'll talk about when we get to Happiest Day. We'll have I won't keep it too long
Yeah.
because we could talk about the receiver for hours and hours and hours, and I know we would.
Yeah.
But when we get there, I want to touch on that
I
a bit
will.
more. You won't because we'll get rid of you. Anyway, next minigame.
No.
Stage 01. And I've wanted to say this since the beginning of the stream, so it's been like an hour that I've been wanting to say this. But it's interesting.
Speak.
Which is, I'm going to have to remember specifically what. Because I remember the gist of it, that there was one detail that I want to bring up. Okay, you know what? I can just say it as is. I'll just say it as is, and then I'll remember the detail later. So, each Happiest Day minigame has a spirit associated to it. And the one associated to this minigame is Foxy. And Red Bear did the Bite of 83. And who caused the Bite of 83? It was a kid in a Foxy mask.
The victim is shattered. The
Yeah.
shattered.
Oh,
is
the
victim.
shattered. The
The
victim is shattered.
Shattered is victim. Oh, the shattered is victim.
Shattery.
Oh, my victim is
Oh,
shattered.
oh, the shattered. Oh, the victim is shattered. The shattered is victimed.
It's good.
What if I shattered
I
your
was-
victim?
What if you become a
Okay, do
victim
it.
of shattering?
Actually, yeah, this would work even better if Chica's if the toy Chica girl in FNAF 4 was Susie, and that's why she's related to Chica's party with the toy Chica specifically.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, why in the hell Gabriel is related to Balloon Boy? I have no idea.
that's
Don't ask me, like, am I
that's valid.
I mean, if
He is-
Susie was the
he is
toy girl,
Gabriel.
maybe Gabriel was that little balloon child. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows?
Interesting.
I shatter on. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I just read something in chat.
Wait, what was it?
I shatter on
I
her
shatter
victim
on her
until
victim till she happiest days. Oh Jesus!
Never cook again, whoever typed that.
You shatter.
Absolx Guardian,
said
you're
that?
shatter on
banned.
my victim till I find
Absol,
her
how could you,
corpse.
bro?
Well, okay.
What I think is interesting about this is showing an importance to the number 3 again, kind of, because we see 3 kids and 3 clouds
theory.
in each stage, except for the one that has the missing kid. Which kind of loops back to the balloon boy thing where we saw 3 crying balloon boys next to the tree.
Yeah.
I just don't see how that's connected. I just see that there is some sort of weird connection between the number 3 repeating itself through these mini games for some reason.
It's what was
And then
brought
the
up
weird
earlier
thing
about the
about-
free kids.
Watch it be something like as simple in these mini games as the fact that it's the 3rd game.
Imagine Scott Coffin is like, it's the middle of the night and he's like,
"Hey,
he's pouring
guys,
over his
did you
notes.
remember your-
Like,
Guys,
ugh,
did you remember? It's the 3rd game.
I need to
Yeah,
pick a
you
number
fucking
that's
idiots.
relevant. I need to pick a
You've
number
been
that's relevant to
Five
the
Nights at
story.
Freddy's. 3.
You will never be free. You have been 5 Nights at Freddy's. You will never have your happiest day.
You will
You've
never
been
have your
Five Nights
happiest
at
day.
Freddy's. Never
Yes.
need. I do think it's funny how the Chica minigame kind of just breaks that and has 4 shadow cupcakes and then 4 stage children.
Yes,
Hmm.
because it's 3 plus 1 because Susie is the first.
Oh no.
Mm. 4.
Perfect.
Oh,
Yeah. What?
What? Yeah. Just move on. Move on. What do we think about
Hopefully not too
I guess in this scenario,
yeah,
the
just
missing
brush past
kid
it, okay.
in stage 01 would be the bite victim then. If we're
I
not
think-
relating him to
I think that we should go off the logic of like earlier that we used. Like, oh yeah, it's just. I think the reason that there's a missing kid in stage 01 is because this minigame is so confusing that the player's just gonna be completely lost. Once they notice a missing kid, they're gonna realize, oh, I am looking for like one of those spirits that I saw in the other minigames here. So I am looking for a spirit. I'm not just aimlessly wandering around. I think that's just a visual.
No,
hint.
no, I disagree.
Oh, so when it was with the
I-
cupcakes, it was
I-
okay. But now, when I say that there's one missing child, that is just there for
Well, yeah,
game
the
design.
cupcakes are a secret thing, and that's interesting. This being like a game design thing when it's present in every other minigame and you don't need a hint. Like, what's it called? It makes sense for BB because it's like, hey, there's one more balloon you need to find. Go find it. I don't think that applies here.
No, this minigame is just, how is a normal person supposed to know what's going on here? The others are clear, right? You walk in a straight line, you get collectibles,
Well, yeah, so
you get the
that's
cake.
pattern. Hey, there's something hidden here. What if it's hidden everywhere else?
I suppose. I understand the argument that it's the bite victim, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I just think that it makes sense if it's just game design.
Based on how Scott has spoken about his approach to game design, and specifically with how he talked about the box, and how he has talked about like leaving roads that he knows are out there, he just has to reach for them. I feel like a lot of times in FNAF, stuff that we're like, what is that supposed to be? What was that meant to be at the time? That was him just being like, yeah, kid went missing at Fredbear's. I don't know. Who was that? That doesn't seem like it's one of the 5 because
Yeah, that
we
can't
know
be
it's like
important.
It's the hair
Yeah,
in
because,
the
like,
in the Night 4 backstage suit. Shh.
oh
You'll
my
see.
god, no.
Mm.
No,
It's
wires or whatever.
it's me, Matt Pat. I'm back.
Oh god.
It's me?
It's me. Oh.
It's me.
Oh,
Oh,
It's me.
It's
me.
It's me.
it's me. It's
It's
me.
me.
It's me.
It's me. It's me.
me.
It's me. It's me.
It's me.
Oh my
It's
god,
me.
see.
what's wrong with us?
It's me.
A lot of stuff.
It's me.
Me.
Yahoo!
It's true, it's him.
Mm,
So, okay, so then anything else on Stage 1?
does anyone want to say anything about Stage 1?
Why are we glitching through
brown
reality? Are we gonna
hat.
talk about that yet?
Because Fredbear's
Got a
Golden
brown
Freddy.
hat.
Because Golden Freddy glitches
Oh,
through
okay,
reality.
that's okay.
Funny memory stuff. Funny memory
Oh,
stuff.
something else worth bringing up.
Yeah.
Which is a stronger point to what I said. We're glitching for reality because we're Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is paranormal, supernatural, ooh, ghost stuff. In the files of the minigame, this guy is not called Fredbear. And in the
What's he called?
files of this minigame, the Spring Bonnie is called unnamed. He's just unnamed. Fredbear in this minigame is called. It's either, I forget if it's GF or G Freddy, which makes it's one of those two. It's very clear what's being alluded to here. It's Golden Freddy.
I mean,
Freddy G.
I feel like Scott still referred to him as Golden Freddy in FNAF 2.
Okay, so
in terms
I
of
have
the-
to ask the stupid question of when Stage 01 is taking place, because there's only one missing kid, but Golden Freddy's doing all this glitchy, teleporty shit.
It's for
so
subtle foreshadowing.
Oh, okay. Him being able to glitch through reality is foreshadowing the fact
Yes.
that he can glitch through reality, I
Yes.
guess.
Freddy,
it is.
Golden Freddy has the silver eyes. He has the silver eyes.
Oh, hear me out. Listen.
Lord.
Hear me out. What if the kid who gets stuffed into Fredbear in
Oh,
backstage possesses him, and that kid is Sammy, and then Crying Child,
No,
and then
it's
Cassidy,
Sammy.
Okay,
and then
hear me out,
Andrew,
hear me out.
Golden
What if I fucking
Quadro,
killed you?
Golden
And then
Hear me
Quadro.
out.
Henry
What if I
cloned
fucking
Sammy,
killed you?
and that was Gregory.
And then Henry put the DCI in Lefty.
And then Golden Freddy went into Lefty, so it's one big golden happy family.
Oh yeah.
I kind of just clocked out and then clocked back in again. What the hell are we talking about?
There's
This
four.
is all Wizard's fault. This is all Wizard's fault.
So hear me out, right? What if there's like that hair in the Fredbear suit, and that's a kid, and that's Sammy Emily, who was taken from a wardrobe and put. Shush.
Withered.
Let me speak. And
No,
then
I've got a killer for your theory. Your theory's dead. All the kids in this minigame are bald, so ain't no hair sticking out of that suit.
you're bald. You have to
Gosh.
wear a hat to cover that up, dude. Let me speak.
Chronic baldness.
You're
This-
wearing a
this-
hat
That
too, Wizard.
fedora. Let's see under that
I'm not-
fedora.
Naked
well, I'm
Chad
not
is
bald.
real.
Well, I'm not bald. I have eyebrows, as you can see. That means I'm not bald. Don't say it.
eyebrows
Unwithered
too.
also has eyebrows. Shh, don't bring that up.
I was gonna say something and now I forgot. I have no idea.
I'm sorry. Golden Quadrio was
It's
too
alright.
powerful.
Yeah. I think. Oh yeah, you asked what year it takes place in. I think the fact it's called Stage 01 is implying it's the first stage, so it's Fredbear's. And I think probably anywhere from whenever Fredbear's open to 83, because I don't know if you guys agree or disagree. I don't know if Secret of the Mimic is going to just completely change this, but I think the implication, at least, is that Freddy's opens as a result of a rebranding that comes after the Bite of 83. Whether or not I think the characters obviously existed beforehand in Fall Fest and in the TV show Fredbear and Friends, but I think the idea is bite victim gets bit, and then, like Mike draws in the survival logbook, after the PR disaster that is the Bite of 83, they rebrand and turn into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and that's the first Freddy that opens. So this has to be pre 83 or just right before the Bite of 83. That's when Stage 01 has to happen.
Yeah.
I just want to say about Stage 01, the name itself. I think the reason it's called Stage 01, while it can beat it because it's the first stage, is because the whole gameplay of the minigame revolves around us moving through different stages of the minigame. There are 9 stages arranged in a grid, and we start on stage 01, and we move all the way up to... Technically, it would be stage 3, right? Because we start, if I remember, we start in the top left corner, and if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like horizontally, it would be stage 3, which is weird. It's something that I thought about. Although I do think it's stage 01 as in Fredbear's Samway Diner, the first stage.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
someone brought up we use the hex code for purple to get into stage 01. I assume because William helped found it, or at least is the Spring Bonnie character.
Remind me if someone knows. It's the hex code for which purple? Because William has 3 purples. I think it's the Follow Me.
The particular one.
It is. It's one of them. It's one of his. I think it's the Follow Me one. Anything else about Stage 01, or are we gonna move on to
Wait, so you
Shadow
think
Bunny?
Stage 01 is Fredbear's, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think
Okay,
it's explicitly said.
Who's the missing kid? So who's that one missing kid then?
I think it's Crying Child.
It would be Crying Child probably. Yeah.
I think.
Or Sammy because of Golden
probably...
Quadrio.
No, stop. No, you're not cooking anymore.
Damn.
Probably Crying Child, Charlie, or just, you know, the Foxy Spirit for the sake of minigame stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe the Foxy kid is older. Maybe Fritz is the eldest and he remembers being at Fredbear's. Maybe he experienced something similar. It's a possibility. Although, you know.
Yeah. You can look.
I honestly think
aren't there 2 Stage 01s? One with Fredbear and the other is Shadow Bonnie. Yeah,
I don't
the
think
second
the RWQ one is named, is it?
It's just, I don't think it is. I think it's just like Glitch or something.
It's just called Stage 01.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, is it still called... Well, hang on, it's about to pop up on screen, hang on.
Yeah, it's about to pop up on...
yeah, it's right there. Stage 1.
Yeah,
okay. But then you move...
does it show the other names? Right? If it shows the other names, then...
I don't think it does. Does it?
It doesn't.
It doesn't? Really? Huh.
So this is also Stage 01, which is interesting.
I think it's interesting that it starts in Stage 01 as well.
It's because it's the last one before Shadow Bonnie. It makes you think, wait a minute, I've already played this one. And then you realize that you're controlling a weird purple glitch thing.
Shadow Bonnie to, it also kind of connects Shadow Bonnie to Fredbear's, and like part of the Shadow Victim theory is that Shadow Bonnie in the minigames represents the shadow of Bonnie that Crying Child saw. So I think that's interesting.
Shadow Glitch, Steve Snodgrass Agony. Oh, watch my video, subscribe.
What?
Wait. Are you not versed? Are you not versed in Shadow Glitch? Do you want does everyone want me to explain? Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch.
Get fucked, idiot.
Shut up.
Jesus.
God, can't have good things. Can't even have a stream. Damn. Okay. Shadow Glitch. Allow me to... It's gonna sound stupider than it actually is. It is a crack theory. But it's gonna sound stupider when I recap it without the script in front of my face. But essentially, the main idea of Shadow Glitch is that Shadow Bonnie, at his core, is a character that is never supposed to be anywhere. And there is always something explicitly wrong about him. We are always, fed the idea that there is something wrong about Shadow Bonnie. In FNAF 2, he's the only animatronic... And in the franchise, he's the only animatronic to crash your game without a jump scare or any sort of preliminary oh yeah, you died. No, you just look at him and it crashes. In FNAF 3, his whole mechanic is glitching, and his like toy on the desk is just slapped on. It's like a black cutout. In UCN, it's like the same. He makes your screen just glitch out and go dark, essentially. And the main idea is that he would be an agony being, except that he would be the agony being of the indie game developer that made the Five Nights at Freddy's games that we're playing, which would be Steve Snodgrass. And the reason it's Toy Bonnie is because that's one of the first characters that he modeled, because he would have gone FNAF 1, FNAF 2, and I couldn't tell you why it would be FNAF 1. It's likely to be a FNAF 2 character because that's when he started going insane. Because in the story in Help Wanted, the Tales from the Pizzaplex novella, it goes over like how he starts going insane as he makes the FNAF games. FNAF 2 is where he starts losing it. So it would follow that it would be Toy Bonnie, because he's kind of like the marketing of... Because like when you think toy animatronic, it's likely Toy Bonnie's going to come to mind first. But so he kind of is the face of FNAF 2 in the like in the teasers that it had, and in... I don't remember if in FNAF AR it was Toy Freddy or Toy Bonnie that was introduced first. Probably Toy Freddy. But there's more to it. There's like more details, but it's roughly just digital agony being that's not supposed to be there.
In AR, Shadow Bonnie was just always there.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, in AR the reason he's there is because he's an agony being, and the reason he collects in he is in remnant dense areas is because that agony of Steve Snodgrass was on the computer chips that Silver Parasol put into their game, because Fazbear was like, oh yeah, use these, it'll allow you to develop your games faster. And not only did it have the Mimic program, but they said, oh, it'll allow you to develop them faster, implying the FNAF games were already there. Which is why in Help Wanted we see FNAF 1 through 3 recreated, because those were the games that Steve Snodgrass managed to make before he died, and the ones where Shadow Bonnie appears. And then those chips would be used by Vanessa in the FNAF AR experience. I'm not saying I believe it, it's just a crack theory.
Yeah, I think I like theories like that in terms of, piecing together evidence. My issue with them is that it requires a character who was introduced in the original series to be only explainable by extra material generated as a result of a decision made once the original series was already over. So that would imply that either Shadow Bonnie had no intention whatsoever in the original games and just sort of was like, Scott was like, I don't know, and then came up with a reason for him later, or whatever the original reason was retconned when they came up with the Help Wanted, real game idea and Steve Snodgrass and all that. And that whatever the original intention, I'd still be interested in what the original version of Shadow Bonnie was.
It would likely,
what the reason was behind him.
It would likely just be an agony being, but the glitch imagery was always there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's I do like the connection of him and the glitching, and the idea of him being this sort of spirit thing, whatever it is, being able to go through all of the memories is, I think, relevant to what we're talking about. I think the fact that he does look like Toy Bonnie, though, and maintains the look of Toy Bonnie in the in FNAF 3 when you click him on the desk, I think is relevant. I know some people just say, oh, Scott just didn't know what Springtrap looked like, so he's supposed to look like, Spring Bonnie in FNAF 2, but he didn't know what that looked like, so he just changed Toy Bonnie a little bit. But I don't, I think the fact that he looks like Toy Bonnie is important, because in FNAF 3, he still looks like Toy Bonnie when he's on the desk. Like, he has the same model. So it feels relevant that he is something to do with FNAF 2. Again, the fact that he's so heavily tied to the Bite Victim's memories, and the Bite Victim's memories are tied to FNAF 2. God Victim. There's something there. There's something there with the fact that he is introduced in FNAF 2, and the Bite Victim, or whatever these memories we're seeing, are so directly connected to that year in particular, especially with stuff like the Bite of 87 and the Bite of 83.
Yeah, this is my personal crack theory interpretation. Everyone needs a crack theory.
Yes.
Everyone has one.
Mine is ear victim.
Well, no, not on
to
stream.
Tell me what ear victim
I need
is.
to know what ear victim is, but I need it
You'll
to be
find
off
it.
stream so I understand.
No, I need
what
it to
is.
be on stream. I need the chat reaction to
We'll
this.
find it.
I'm really
It's gonna take
worried
forever.
that your victim is just gonna be this guy screaming as loud as he can into our ears.
I
Come
mean-
real close. To the
Okay,
speaker.
here's ear victim.
Oh no. I'm muting.
Yeah.
Oh, did noise
You know what?
noise
You know
canceling
what?
not pick it up? Okay,
Wait,
hold on, let me
no.
try that again.
Nothing picked up.
Withered circle. Withered circle. Withered circle. How about you go on my channel and you play the most recent video.
Boo,
about
self
you do that?
promo, boo.
Boo.
You
Boo,
want to
boo
we
know
will.
what
this
it
man.
was.
We can do this
Chat,
after
boo
stream.
this man, boo.
Chat, spam
You
14
want to
and
know what
boo.
it was.
Get off the stage, boo.
Get off the stage,
Chat.
01.
Chat, spam ear victim. Chat, spam ear victim. Chat, spam my ears hurt.
Chat, remove this man's penis, boo.
Whoa. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Chat, spam 14. And don't
Still
listen to
can't have
Cryo.
one in the
I'm going insane.
Oh shit. This motherfucker might have anything. We don't know yet.
Anyway.
Chat, find out what this motherfucker has. Wait, not like
I
that.
have a thingamabob. Whoa.
Whoa.
Type shit.
Anyway, happiest day. Since we already we already went for everything else somehow. It only took us an hour and a half. Happiest day. I want a show of hands. Who's the receiver?
Okay, speak
Cassidy.
right now if you're a Cassidy receiver believer.
Wee.
Cassidy.
Hey.
Cassidy.
All right, was that 2 ops or 3?
That was free.
I think
3 ops.
three.
Okay, name yourselves.
You already know.
Cosmic.
No, name
Okay.
yourselves. Withered, are you one?
Absolutely.
Unwithered, are you one?
Only with the caveat that it is absolutely tied to bite victim, undeniably.
Oh,
in
yes.
like there's no
Definitely.
way it's not about the bite victim.
Unwithered is secretly a glue victim believer and doesn't even know it yet.
I don't even know what it is. I was on a call for like an hour. for someone
My
to
God.
explain.
Glue victim this, ear victim that. What's next? Portable handsaw victim? Like, Jesus Christ. Can we come up with normal
it happen.
names?
Oh, you don't want me to get into that one. You
Oh,
don't want me to.
please
get
don't
into
tell
that
me
one.
portable
It's so
handsaw
funny that
victim is
Unwithered
real.
is a glue victim believer without knowing what glue victim
Water
is.
bottle victim.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's time
I'm
for, I
so
need to
hyped
make.
when Charlie finally releases that.
It's like
Anyway, Cosmic, Terminal, and Withered are all ops in chat. I need you to go off on them.
spam 14 if I'm cool and Cryo isn't.
Look, I have
just right.
been a bite victim receiver believer for a very, very long time. I'm just open to the idea that Cassidy could just be the one with the mask being put on her, and it's all set up for bite victim, or it's all a part of putting bite victim back together.
I
I can see.
Because
I-
in fairness,
I'm trying to think,
none of the other kids have anything to do with Happiest Day either. Like they don't have anything to do with the MC with Bite Victim being killed. So there's no reason to be like they are more valid to be released by Bite Victim's memories than Cassidy isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My
I feel like that's a big thing. It's like why have the entirety of the MCI there except for Cassidy?
true.
Like that it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Both like just like in any kind of way for me at least. Because like the first I'm gonna go on a ramble again. Sorry.
Oh no.
The first 3 games
locked
are
in.
kind of like the first 3 games. The first game, it's about like it's setting up the MCI. You're told that children went missing in this location, and then there's animatronics that are possessed. And then the second game, you actually see this kind of stuff happen. You see children die in Foxy Go Go Go, and then you see them like being related to the suits in Give Skiv Life. So it doesn't really make sense for the third game to just be like, you know what? Fuck one of them in particular, and then just takes them out.
Well, this is
For,
this
like,
is why I
little to
think
no
that this is why I think you can look at it from a couple of you can look at it as either the third game. I mean, the third game you can just say, yeah, it's if you just take 1 to 3, it's about the 5 kids, and there's no argument about it, and the mini games are just random, and it doesn't matter. If you look at 1 to 4, you can say, oh well, maybe there isn't a 5th kid, or the 5th kid is the bite victim or whatever, and it's about him getting the receiver. But then you start to move out beyond that, and you start to kind of take in, well, who's Cassidy? Is Cassidy Golden Freddy? Is she someone else? Is she helping put it together? Is she the receiver? Is she this? Is she that? Like, here's someone in chat earlier. I can't remember who said it, so apologies to whoever it was. Brought up a very good point that we should be looking at the logbook when we're talking about Happiest Day, because I don't know if it's a crackpot theory, but my interpretation of the logbook is that it is the in canon modern version of what Happiest Day is, because it's all about one spirit trying to help another remember stuff, and it specifically is Cassidy and the bite victim talking to each other, and there are multiple references throughout the book about Happiest Day. In particular, the party was for you, which is a pretty big one that would point toward bite victim receiver. Also, the take a bite out of fun on your birthday, the coupon
Thank
page.
you.
And on that page, the third coupon is Happiest Day. You do have the one of the little girl with the black hair getting the cake from the puppet. That seems kind of Cassidy coded, you know. And then you have there's one other one. I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. But anyway, the party was for you. You know, you can take that either way. You can say, "Oh, Cassidy's gone through Happiest Day," and she's saying, "Oh, I was at your birthday party in your memory. The party was for you, but I was there." Or you can say, "The party that I'm trying to get you to go to, that was for you. The party I'm trying to remind you about is your party." You know, you can take it a couple of different ways.
Can I just say
Cosmic,
something
I
real
got
quick?
a couple questions.
I gotta say
Okay, you go
something real
first,
quick.
and then I gotta say something.
Someone's offering me $5 if I say shard victim, so shard victim. There you go.
Whoever donates,
should have got them to. You should have got them to donate first.
No, it's
Because
fine.
They don't gotta pay you now.
It'll be funny if they don't donate.
Cosmic,
Wait,
Cosmic, I got something to ask. I got a couple things to ask you.
Wait,
Cosmic, who do you think
hang
the
on.
happiest day for in the drowning ending is of FNAF World?
The drowning ending for
Like
FNAF
with like in the Old Man Consequences, like the whole happiest day sequence. Who do you think that? Like, do
Yeah,
you think
with the
that's someone's
teacher.
happiest day?
World? I think that's Crying Child's happiest day. I think that.
Okay,
makes,
you
like,
think that's Crying Child? Okay, follow-up question.
Yeah.
What do you think the point of the clock ending in FNAF World is?
Setting up the FNAF 3 happiest day for the missing children's incident kids. Kind of like
Finally.
collecting Crying Child's memories. Making them.
So you're collecting Crying Child's memories for a happiest day that
So
isn't
to-
for the Crying Child.
Hear me out.
so to speak, kind of, because like, you know, it's gonna be a little tricky to explain, because I do think a lot of it is just more so
Because
representative.
here's what
Uh,
I think. I think that in FNAF World, like when you're having the conversation with Spooky Eyes, I think the person on like the receiving end of that conversation is Crying Child.
Cosmic, can I just say something? Because I
Yeah.
think this is related. It's quick.
Yeah, what's
I just wanted to say that I think the dynamic going with Happiest Day. Thanks for the $5, actually. Wow, you actually followed through on your promise. Anyway, yeah, there you go. That's
Chat, bully this man.
I was not
all for me saying shard victim. I'll do
Chat, bully that man.
what I was gonna say is I think that the thing of Happiest Day is Cassidy's the receiver, and Cassidy receiver shadow victim, where the MCI have the memories of the crying child attached to them, and they need their happiest day and Cassidy's happiest day to not only free them, but to also unite crying child so it can free all of them. So I think that FNAF World
Yeah, that's
is
kind of
about
what I think
uniting.
too.
Yeah, it's about uniting crying child's memories, so he can be connected to the MCI through the happiest day minigames to freedom, which explains the crying child imagery and the Cassidy imagery, and makes both of them free in that context. And return to the pit.
Yeah.
If I may, something interesting I noticed recently was that the FNAF World isn't actually setting up the Happiest Day minigames. It's setting up the hints
Yes.
in Follow Me to the Happiest Day.
You need to leave
minigames.
breadcrumbs.
It's not
The whole
actually-
game is about leaving breadcrumbs.
For him. They
For
keep
him.
saying for him.
Yeah, for him.
For the crying child to put himself
Yeah,
together
I
for
do
Cassidy receiver.
Yeah,
Pieces are in
that's
place
what
for
we're
you.
saying.
Now rest.
Now we're saying words.
Nah.
I do think
Scott
that-
Coffin's
I
in the
don't- I don't
chat,
know
no
about that. I
way.
do kind of think that the Whoa!
It's the real
I
Scott
do
Coffin.
kind of think that
Got Cawthon, say
What the
15.
heck?
It's the real Scott Coffin in the chat.
Say
Wait.
Scott Coffin,
Oh,
say
I thought that
14.
was
name.
Scott.
Scott Coffin, say 14.
Scott Coffin, please.
I wish it was. I wish it was.
Scott
Scott.
Coffin, say
Imagine.
Lefty DCI for the one time.
Scott
Thanks-
Coffin, say
thanks,
Garrett
Blocks.
is the crying child.
Say
Scott
Mimic
Coffin, say
Taunted.
nothing about Garrett ever again, please.
Scott Coffin, say
Say
Green
Mimic
Afton.
Scott.
Taunted.
Imagine it's the
Scott,
real
please
Scott.
Say
refer
your
to
victim.
Cassidy with. Please refer to Cassidy with specific pronouns, please.
imagine
Scott,
Sc-
please
imagine
say
this is the
he
real
in
Scott.
the chat.
Imagine this is the real Scott on an alt
Scott, don't
account.
forget to say
And he-
please
and
and
he's
thank
just
you
in
when you
shock.
want things.
Scott,
Scott,
say
please
your
say
victim.
Cassie in the chat for the one time. I just want to
No.
laugh at it.
Kazuhi.
Kazuhi and Kazushi are like
just
the
give me a
best
good laugh.
theories.
I just need a
I was
good
gonna
chuckle.
say,
Come on for the
I
one
do
time.
think that for what were we talking about?
Cassidy
Sorry.
Cassidy receiver. I almost said Cassidy victim. Oh, kill me. Cassidy receiver,
You
shatter
alive.
victim.
You alive?
It's a different bag of worms. That's a can I don't want to open.
We will never open it.
But no, I do think that the like the you're leaving breadcrumbs for him could be for like in FNAF World, it could be for the crying child. I do think during the intro and outro cutscenes for FNAF World with the spooky eyes, I do think they're talking specifically to the crying child. And then during the game, we're playing as some weird like Freddy homunculus type thing. Like it's a like I don't know, meta type shit where we're just like playing as a thing. I don't know. Like it's confusing. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of just like a shit ton of representation rather than literal stuff. And I kind of think that's also what Happiest Day is. Like, you know, I hear a lot of people say like Happiest Day and those mini games, they're real mini games, but I just think they're just supposed to represent memories. Like I don't think in universe we're punching wall tiles and then hallucinating Fredbear or something.
Clipping through
I
walls.
don't know. Yeah. But like
That's why I think
you know,
that's that's what the logbook is. The logbook is trying to show us a more literal representation of what happened between the spirits because it's set around FNAF 3. You've got Michael interacting with spirits, you've got the two spirits in particular. I think it is interesting actually if you take the angle of Bite Victim being led to putting Cassidy together. It's interesting because in the logbook, the whole logbook leads you on this whole trail talking about, you know, Bite Victim and his memories, but it leads to Cassidy's name. It doesn't lead to the Bite Victim's name, which
Or
is
does it?
obviously a thing that a lot of Cassidy, you know, believers, you know, Cassidy victim or whatever people think like, well, why would the name lead you to Cassidy if it's about putting back the Bite Victim together? But if that's Scott's way of kind of in a roundabout way going, well, that's what Happiest Day is it's talking about Bite Victim, but it's putting Cassidy together in the end. You know, it's helping one to help the
like,
other.
They are
like,
linked.
Kinda
it's
interesting.
the MCI victims being freed through crying child's memories.
Like Cassidy and Crying Child are connected. It's almost like there's some kind of golden duo.
Shut
Yeah.
up. He said the thing.
I think now Golden Duo is almost certainly the case because
Yeah.
of stuff like the week before having the Bite of 83 lead to the Chomp.
Peak.
Is
Oh,
he dying?
What's happening?
I think he's turning into a
Hello?
FNAF jump scare. Oh, I think he's turning into Chica.
No, I definitely think that I think the week before just shows that the crying child is around, but I still find it hard to believe that he is possessing Golden Freddy, especially
But who
since
else is
like
fighting him?
like I mean similar to the I think it's just similar to the 1983 Easter egg in FNAF 1. After all, it's like, you know, we've had that Easter egg, but no one has ever thought it meant that Golden Freddy is the Bite of 87 victim. It's just that Golden
I know
Freddy
what
did
the
a
answer
bite.
is.
Why you get so close to the mic?
I swear to
Oh my
God,
God.
say
Get
God
the
to me,
fuck
don't
away from me, bro.
say
If you say it,
I know what the
go.
answer is.
Bro, get
Okay.
out of my head.
Everyone
And
on
Go.
3. Everyone say what the answer is on 3.
Go.
3,
Go.
1, 2,
I swear to God.
3.
I s-
It's God Victim.
God,
God
victim.
Victim.
Blue victim.
Mods,
No.
ban Caitlin.
Victim.
Okay, can I genuinely I want to go off on
Go off.
Victim just for a quick
Go
second.
off, go off, go off.
Just for a
Okay.
quick
Okay.
second.
Okay.
The whole 1987 Bite of 83, all these specifically I want to, if I can find the one connection between 83 and 87 that makes it particularly why that's what happens. But anyway, I'll be a very happy man. But the whole thing with the Bite of 83, everyone at the time, everyone went, why did Scott do that? That's so stupid. Or maybe he was going to make it about the Bite of 87 and then he changed his mind, or he forgot his own lore, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that's the case, because I think Scott knows better about his own lore than I think people give him credit for. And also, he specifically was surprised that people didn't figure out the game after 4 came out, story-wise. So I don't think he would have, made the game, gone, oh crap, I didn't mean to make it about the Bite of 87 and put Fredbear in it. I guess I'll just make it about 83 and there's 2 bites. I think Scott was trying to give us the answers through God Victim, and specifically gave us enough information about the 83 byte to tell us about the 87 byte. And specifically that Michael, being dressed as Foxy, being the one to commit the byte of 87, or byte of 83, is part of what informs the byte of 87 happening that way, and why it's Foxy that does it. I think he was trying to answer a load of things at the same time by being if you look at 4, all of the answers to what happens in the rest of the games comes from 4, and that specifically these memories are being spread out and connected. And the reason that the Bite Victim is broken in the first place, and the reason I even link it to the Bite of 87 at all, is for a long time I got annoyed when people said that the Bite Victim lost his frontal lobe, because I was like, no, they're 2 different bites. The one in 87, he loses his frontal lobe. But if you believe the idea that one is caused by the other and one is influenced by the other, the Bite of 83, if the crying child's frontal lobe is damaged, then the frontal lobe is the part of the brain which does not store memory, but is responsible for recalling memory. So if you have a damaged frontal lobe, the memories are still there, quote unquote, in your brain, but you have an issue with recalling them. So if he's had this part of his brain damaged, then that means the memories are spread about, the memories are shattered, quote unquote. And so when he dies, whether it's God Victim or Shadow Victim or whatever, the Bite Victim having a damaged frontal lobe is what causes this breakage. It's why he is different in a way that all the other ones aren't. So him having this frontal lobe damage means that his memories are spread out. Everyone else has to come and pick them apart and put them together. And that's why he has this kind of interesting, and it's also because of the agony and stuff that's going on in his life. But that's why he has such an influential effect on the rest of the series, because his memories are so spread out, because he can't recall them himself. So stuff like, you could even argue the stuff in the week before, yeah, he's not possessing the suit, Golden Freddy, but he's kind of able to control the suit a little bit to make it, you could even say the It's Me stuff is the Bite Victim, but he's speaking through everyone. He's kind of got a little bit of influence over everything. I think that's why in FNAF 2, the golden suit that they mentioned, the yellow suit that's been moved, I don't even think the killer put on the Golden Freddy suit. I think that the Golden Freddy suit started freaking out and moving around, and why, I still need to figure out why. But the Golden Freddy suit started freaking out and started influencing the toys, and that's why the toys act the way they do, is because the Bite Victim has influence over them. That's why there's a specific connection to FNAF 2 as well. And so then you have this influence over everything. They call the 420 mode, or the 1020 mode, or whatever it's called in that game, is Golden Freddy mode. They say once that suit starts acting up, none of them start acting right, yada, yada, yada. So there's a lot to be said about the Bite Victim having some form of influence over the rest of the series, specifically the stuff that happens in 2. And then for him to be such a big part of putting 3 back together. Scott even said, I wanted to make the series less interpretive or less like open to understanding when he made Sister Location. And a lot of Sister Location is about William making stuff from 4 happen literally so that he can recreate it later. Like if you watch T Dread's latest video, he's like talking about how Sister Location and a lot of the stuff in there is about recreating the circumstances of 4. So I could see that as Scott being like, oh, my intention was for the bite victim to have all this influence over the series. So instead, I'm going to make it that it's like literally people start replicating his behavior in real life, like as in, so it's not like ghostly and metaphorical. And if anyone says that there's not examples of this anywhere else in the series, Andrew does it in Frights. He's introduced in the story. No, he
Andrew
does.
is
He
the
does
vengeful
in
spirit.
Here we
Fetch.
go.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
In
he
Fetch,
is,
they
yeah.
introduced the 0-point field, which the 0-point field is
Y'all better
introduced
be
in the story
careful about his
Fetch,
soundboard.
which which Andrew is connected to Fetch most closely to all the animatronics, and his agony is spread across a load of different things. And at least for the first half of Frights, he's the spirit influencing most of what's going on. Like I think he's in the Ella doll, he's in the plush trap chaser, he's in the Foxy from Step Closer.
He's in
And
everything.
he's
No,
the
that's not
0-point
Eleanor.
field. The 0-point field, the memories and feelings impact people's day-to-day lives by like not intentionally. They just kind of go, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. So you could definitely look at that as an example of a character sharing a vessel with another character, influencing things through their agony, whatever, yada yada yada, as Scott like reusing that plot point. Anyway, sorry, that's my rant over.
No, you're good. I see what you're saying, but also it was revealed like later in the epilogues that Eleanor was the main one doing everything. Like she made the plush trap chaser doll. She was the one who was like kind of acting as Foxy, throwing things to Pete, trying to like cut off his hand
arm,
and
yeah.
remove his eye. Yeah, eye and arm.
If
Like she was Shadow Bonnie, she was doing the Ella stuff. So I see what you're saying with like that, but at the same time, it was a third party that was doing it independently. Andrew was like quote unquote shattered amongst these things, but it's definitely not to the it's not to the point or level where like you're describing God Victim, where it's like all of these things are like replicating through time. It's literally just like
Well, I
like,
think
oh,
Bite
yeah,
Victim's still
Andrew kind
conscious.
of
That's why I would say he has some sort of part of Golden Freddy, or like that specifically that suit is part of it, because that suit seems to have influence over things. He alters things in the logbook, But I think as well with the Frights thing, I agree. I know later it goes on and it becomes this story about Eleanor doing everything, but and correct me if I'm wrong. This might be misinformed speculation, but from what I've been told and from what I've read and from what I remember at the time, Frights was only supposed to be a certain number of books and then became
5, I
expanded.
believe.
That
Yeah,
is
I think it
true.
was. And if I remember correctly, the epilogues were leading to the sort of the conclusion, and then Andrew just gets yeeted out of there, and it's in that story where Eleanor is brought into the epilogues, and it's, to me, that seems a little bit like, and there's all this stuff, like even later in the epilogues, Jake goes, man, Eleanor's a lot like Andrew, but she's definitely not Andrew, he kind of, it's like this, it feels like the writer being like, we set up Andrew being the one to be kind of like causing everything, but then we changed our minds and went with Eleanor, and she just sort of like shows up in the story and doesn't really,
I
to me,
blame it
it's
on
like-
Scholastic.
Interesting character.
I blame it
Yeah,
on
I see
Scholastic.
what you
Whenever
mean.
there's book troubles, blame it on
I-
Scholastic. It's always their fault.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but all Scott said was the series will launch with 5 books, not that it was originally
Right, okay.
only supposed to have 5 books. So like I see what you mean, but at the same time,
I
That's
think
fair.
I can see.
That's fair enough.
I
Again, it's
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think the series was meant to have 8 books. Because if I haven't read Frights in a while, but if I remember correctly, the epilogue of Gumdrop Angel is where it's either Gumdrop Angel or The Puppet Carver. It's one of those two, where not only does the quality harshly decline after those books, but that's also where the Agony story finishes. And then after that, it's just some weird, like, B plot with Eleanor being Renelle, who's Talbot File's daughter for some reason. And it just becomes, like, a weird side plot, almost like a side tangent that's not supposed to be in the final story. It feels like the epilogues conclude with
Makes
Agony,
sense.
and then they just continue for some reason, and it's never really clear. I don't think it was
Let me
originally going to
see
be
on
5.
that.
I think the story was always meant to be like the 8 books, and then after some, because the last books are really weird. Like Friendly Face, Prankster, and Felix the Shark. Felix the Shark barely counts, but those ones are really weird.
So we were supposed to be talking about FNAF 3, by the way.
We already
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about the Happiest Day.
Yeah,
we
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 covered
already
the whole thing.
we already talked about Happiest Day, honestly. Like we went
Yeah,
over
I
our
think, I
thoughts on
think
that.
the
I
main,
don't,
the main.
did we come to a conclusion we all agree on?
No, of course
No.
not.
Okay, just making sure.
No.
Just making sure I'm not the
Yeah.
only one who felt this way.
Just
No,
making
I
sure
think- I
everything
think,
is
yeah,
right.
The main. I think that
I don't
seems
know
to
if
be
we
that a lot of
can
people are.
come to one of those.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Except
yeah.
for 14.
Cryo-
Except for 14
Cryo,
theory.
do you
What's
think?
up?
I know.
What's up?
Yeah, 14 theories
I-
canon.
I think a lot of
It
us
was left
are
to DCI.
kind of
True.
along on the fence of like it's about Bite Victim definitely, but it could be Cassidy is the one getting the cake at the end. Like it's like I don't think anyone disagrees that it's about like Bite Victim. Like it's all of it is related to his memories. I don't think does anyone disagree with that?
No.
So then I think
you're
that-
gonna hate me, but I have
Oh.
to say it.
Oh,
Go for it.
The answer is Glue Victim.
What the
And you
hell is
think
Glue
Somebody
Victim?
with
tell
you.
me what Glue Victim is.
I need to
Somebody
know.
tell me what Glue Victim
The
is.
thing is that I can't tell if you think that I'm fucking with you, but I'm not fucking with you. The answer is
Please.
Glue Victim.
Tell me what Glue
Genuinely,
Victim
glue
is,
victim
please.
supremacy.
I need to know what
I
Glue
can't
Victim
tell you
is.
what
to
Glue
know.
Victim is. I cannot steal Charlie the enemy's thunder.
It made any sense.
You have to wait a
It
few
was
business
so
months
meme
for
filled,
Charlie
but there
to
was
make
no
it.
actual information. that was
Because no
Unwithered.
one,
Unwithered.
because okay, it's because of
tell
the,
us.
the
Tell us
graphic that was posted.
what Glue Victim is.
Okay, tell us what you think Glue Victim is.
like
Yeah, we
something
can't
to
tell
know.
you. Especially not on stream.
Okay,
we cannot tell you.
'cause here's the
That's
thing, right?
Charlie's video.
The only thing I know about Glue Victim is that deranged, nonsensical diagram, which it just
yeah,
looks.
that's all I've
I've
seen.
seen
It looks like the scribblings of a
reference.
man trapped in an insane asylum for 50 years. It doesn't make sense, and I don't
mean,
know
if
the
you replace man
context.
with woman, that's pretty accurate for who Charlie is.
I mean,
Yeah,
it just
that's
reads like a
pretty fair.
conspiracy theorist with a giant corkboard, just lining up random images for no reason,
Who does
and I don't
every
get it.
FNAF theory?
Okay,
Have you ever
Green
listened to
Afton
yourselves?
supplier.
Shut up, Green After this peak.
I don't know about you.
I'm
guys,
looking at
but
the
I
Glue
think I
Victim
make
image
most
now.
of that
There's
tier.
2 versions of Peter Griffin dead on the floor. There's 2 images.
Look, I don't want to steal. I don't want to steal Charlie's thunder. It's her theory, but I am dying to know what Glue Victim is.
I'm reading the
Pete.
words FNAF
It's the
Bob the
answers to the
Builder
universe.
edition. I have no idea what's happening.
Sorry, you're reading which
It's-
words?
The FNAF Bob the Builder edition. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then breaching security again.
Funny.
I just
yeah.
Evid and Charlie, the
Yeah.
Hunger Games, and then
Yep.
5 become the
Mhm.
the best game. Yippee game! I can't do
Yippee
it. This,
cake.
sorry,
That's what
I
we're
know this
talking
is
about
this is.
today.
It just seems like it's just
My
It's the opposite
theory.
of Shatter
Okay.
Victim.
My
Glue
theory.
Victim is Shatter
Charlie
Victim.
heard
Glue
Oh no,
Victim. Charlie's in chat.
Charlie's in chat. We're talking
Charlie,
about.
you gotta make glue victim.
We're talking about Glue Victim.
Charlie, do you want to try explaining Glue Victim to Unwithered?
Yeah, do you want to come on stream?
No,
you've tried before,
no. No, we are not doing this on stream. I'm sorry. We are
Think
not
this
doing
was
this on
very
stream.
No.
Glue Victim.
If
Can
if
I-
you want to explain it after stream, I would gladly say in VC to hear you out. But
The point of Happiest Day, if we want why they all get linked up, just for no reason, I had the idea at one point that the Happiest Day, the masks being put on the kids, is nothing to do with possession or stuffing or whatever. But it was, whether it was at the time or not, I don't know. But that with Happiest Day, Scott was like retconning the idea that the masks were representative of the bite victims' memories, and that the puppet was the one assigning each of the kids a part of his soul, so that they could all be brought together and be set free.
Chat spam 14. I'm trying to get to 100 viewers. Anyway,
I think the mask means something else, and I made a whole
I
video.
think
Don't let
about
this
it.
guy
we
cook.
get us
Don't
to
let this guy
100
cook.
viewers.
What do you mean? Don't let this guy cook. That video was peak.
he made fun of Green Afton.
What are you talking about with the mask, huh?
Watch the video.
I was
It's a
just
good
saying is
video.
that-
It's a good video. I like actually.
I'll link it inside chat. Hang on.
Okay. Anyway, I want to
I was
ask.
basically just saying
Oh,
that I
you,
think
you
the
guys keep
masks
going. You
and-
guys keep going.
I want to ask. Are we ready to move on to follow me? Follow me's quick because there's really only like one big question about it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about more things. I forgot.
No, it's just follow me's time placement. I don't really want to touch on anything else. I think we've already gone over everything else. When do you think follow me happens?
After FNAF 1.
From
After
left
1.
from left to right. So Cryo, Cosmic, Mamakado, Terminal, Unwittered, and me.
Come back to me. I have to keep thinking about it.
Okay,
But it's after FNAF 1. I'm pretty sure.
Cosmic.
Brian, did you take Unhappiest Day from us?
No, it's slightly.
I just had a family member pull up blaring music, so I didn't hear the question.
Oh,
When does Follow Me happen?
Ah, okay.
Cosmic.
I don't know.
Not doesn't have to be year. Doesn't have to be year. Just say, like, after what
Okay,
game?
pre or post FNAF? Pre or post FNAF 1?
The fact that you're debating this is a very bad sign.
I mean,
Should we come back to you?
Don't make me go first.
Withered, it's your stream, bro. Talk.
Okay. So, there's two interpretations for when it can happen. We'll go from right to left because you're all cowards. Unwittered, that means you're next. There are two interpretations.
Okay.
The first interpretation is after FNAF 1, I'd give it like a year or two. I personally believe FNAF 1 is either 1992 or 1993, so I like to say 1995. And then sister location would be right after that. So it could be in the time frame of 1994, 1995, and then sister location is right after that, so there. The other interpretation is if Vanessa is William Afton's daughter, which is becoming more and more likely, unfortunately, Follow Me would happen in 2010. Wow, thanks for the 10 gifted memberships. That's actually insane. Oh, One Withered, you got a membership. Cool.
10. Oh, let's go.
I need to actually make
I got one.
content for my memberships. Mama Kato got one.
Yeah, you got one.
Yes!
Bro, stop speaking this shit into reality.
I'm not a witch.
But
Bro,
yeah.
Tell me I'm gonna hit the lottery one time for the one
No, it's done. You're done.
time. Hey, come on, man.
Honestly,
I'll have to do
it's
it later.
either
I need to use your real government name for that.
it's either 1995 or 2010. I personally like 1995 because I don't really like Vanessa Afton.
Where did 2010 come from? I've never heard
Okay,
of
let me
that.
explain. Let me explain, right? Because
Vanessa.
Afton, right? So
Uh-huh.
under the extremely likely, it's becoming more and more likely, unfortunately, theory that Vanessa is William Afton's daughter. We get Nessie 97 in FNAF AR. Thanks God Coffin for the 27 Swedish krona. I appreciate it. I'm glad you live in it.
That's how you know he's real.
At least I think those are Swedish krona. I might be wrong.
Man, I would love if Scott did have a
That is your Swedish krona.
an alt account.
Yeah, it
in
is.
Sweden.
It is.
See, I'm a currency master.
That would be the most Scott thing ever.
But-
I hope that wasn't the real Scott. What a wasted
I
opportunity.
hope it was. I hope it was. I hope we were making fun of the real Scott Coughlin this whole time. That's funny as fuck.
Imagine the real Scott Cawthon donates in fucking Swedish.
Yeah, that'd be peak.
What's 27
That's
Swedish
how you
krona?
want that to be the case.
27 Swedish krona is like $1, isn't it? Because that's like it's worth less. So okay, my point is that it's 2010 because we get Vanessa Afton in FNAF AR.
Uh-huh.
We see Nessie 97, right?
Yeah.
And with the time frame of security breach, which I believe would be like 2028 or 2035. Judging by Vanessa's age and like the progression of those games, as well as my personal timeline beliefs, it makes sense for her to be born in 97. She might be a bit too old, which is weird, but there's no way to make it work. Like, we're given a number, but there's no way to make it work without making FNAF 3 2015 and thus FNAF 6 2016 or something like that. Which would mess with the timeline because Into the Pit is implied to be in 2020, and Into the Pit is directly connected to FNAF 3 and 6 in a way that makes it very unlikely for it to be after FNAF 6. The point
Okay.
is that the point is that we know through the therapy tapes that Vanessa was old enough to remember her dad and to have been like basically forced by him to lie in court about about his relationship with his wife, Vanessa's mom, which eventually led to Vanessa's mom disappearing. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, as the tapes very strongly suggest, and her dad also disappearing, which would be Follow Me. And so the whole time Michael is helping with the remnant experiments and essentially also babysitting Vanessa. And so it just shifts the timeline forward a bunch. It's weird. I don't like it.
Why is it getting
And
more likely that she's his daughter? What's changed that she's more likely to be his actual biological daughter now?
It's
rather than
because
just,
like
mimic
it's
the
The movie.
there's a lot of like there's connections between Vanessa and Afton in Security Breach, in Help Wanted. Why would specifically Vanessa and not some other playtester be targeted to be the main target of Glitch Trap? There's the FNAF movie and how that's going to be more fleshed out in movie 2, what Vanessa being an Afton actually means for that story. I wouldn't say, maybe more likely isn't more like it. Maybe it's there's more and more evidence for it. Which is different.
yeah. Okay.
Which is
so
different.
That's fair. I'm
done yapping.
I don't think that I believe that 3 happens in 2015, and I don't think
Okay.
Into the Pit game is canon at all, so it's not relevant to my evidence that I take into account for it. I don't think that necessarily. I don't think that necessarily means that 6 has to be the next year, because we don't know when relative to that it happens. But I do think that Follow Me takes place after FNAF 1. I think it's probably relatively close to it in time, because I don't see the FNAF 1 animatronics sitting in the building for decades without being touched, and the implication of FNAF 1 is that the building is going to close by the end
True.
of that year. So presumably whenever FNAF 1 takes place, if it's 93 or whenever, it's going to be closed by the end of that year. So then if it's closed in 93, then it could be 93 or 94 or whatever. I am necessarily convinced that Vanessa is his biological daughter. If she is, then, maybe I mean, I don't know. I can't even rationalize
I have
how
my
that would work. But
I have my own thoughts, which is that I'm a bit mixed up on the tapes, but I don't remember if this tape is addressing Patient 46 or Vanessa. But there's a tape where the therapist goes, "Why are you lying about your past? You had a fine family. You didn't
yeah,
have
had a
all that
lovely
trouble.
family,
You didn't have any of those troubles. Why are you lying?" And it's not like you're just lying. Your records have been changed as well, noticeably so.
Mhm.
Which to me implies, oh yeah, Glitchtrap went and messed with that and essentially gaslit Vanessa into becoming Elizabeth. And my personal belief is that the stuff we see in those tapes actually happened, but it didn't happen to Vanessa. It happened to Elizabeth. That was the conflict that Elizabeth went through before she
Yeah.
died.
I think it's either that, or it's at least that maybe if those are Vanessa's real memories, that Glitchtrap either is changing her memories to make that about William, or make it like fit in with that story, or she's confused or something like that. I find it unlikely, based on what we know, that she's his biological daughter, but maybe. I mean, I think Sister Location happens after 1. I think 6 specifically says that Follow Me is the instance where Afton gets the remnant. I know that people have a lot of issues with that in terms of the mechanics of how the kids get from FNAF 1 to the Sister Location bunker. I agree that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but Henry's insanity speech is very direct about he lured them there again, he robbed them of what they had again, yada yada yada. I think Scott was looking back at his timeline and going, where could I fit it in? and oh well, he disassembled the robots after FNAF 1 in FNAF 3, so maybe that could be when he did it. Maybe he got he came up with a reason himself as to how that would work. But that's pretty explicit to me anyway. That's what Henry is implying in FNAF 6. So that has to happen after 1. And anyone that says the buttons on the sprites is good evidence. Chica has orange legs, which Wither Chica doesn't have. So it doesn't. The sprites are not good evidence one way
Wait,
or the
what?
other.
And Follow Me?
And Follow Me, yeah.
Doesn't Chica not even have a bib in that?
She does, I think. She has the bib, but she doesn't have the legs. But what I mean is the sprites are not good evidence, and the evidence to me that's the most damning is what would Scott's implication be in FNAF 3 when he was making that without the context of sister location or anything else? Why would he be making the implication be, oh, William gets spring locked before FNAF 1 opens, he breaks the robots down, they get made back up into robots, and then at some point later on they also get broken down again? I think it was just like he breaks up the robots, the spirits are kind of then like floating around for a while, and that's why they're not like physically robots anymore in FNAF 3. That's why they're phantoms, or they're just lonely spirits lost to the wind. That's why we have to save them through Happiest Day, because they're not physically tethered to the robots anymore. I think that was the intention of the
I
game
think the main
during FNAF 3.
Chica does not have a bib in this, by the way. This is just a completely different design. Like, the designs are just inaccurate.
You know why they're inaccurate?
I think the main problem or the main
Because they suck. And
Not
Scott
only
Cawthon is a fuck.
not only.
Whereas
That's one
it's
of the reasons.
It's just like what I said earlier with the stylization and the pixel stuff.
Yeah.
In the stylization and the pixelation and
Stylization.
the appreciation and the destination and
Mario.
Super Mario.
It's like the Super Mario.
Yeah.
I feel like the main problem I've heard with Follow Me being after FNAF 1 is that William is still trapped in the safe room.
Yeah, I think that the phone calls are recorded in '85. The safe rooms are sealed. Years later, William goes back and goes into the safe room afterwards. Now, I know people say, "Oh, he was still stuck in the room because they say it was boarded up." There's a couple of different explanations. One of them is in the books. There's a safe room in I think it's the pizzeria under the Pizzaplex, where there's like a push latch, like a false door, a false wall, which can be opened from the outside but not from the inside. Or I was thinking about it today. William is stuck in an animatronic, and the animatronics don't know that that map exists on the room or on the room layout. So you could argue that room, he couldn't leave it. He couldn't move because he was in the animatronic mode. So the animatronic couldn't get up and leave.
No, the problem is that the phone calls, like one of I think it's the night 2 phone call wait, no, it's the night 1 phone call where phone dude is like, yeah, we're gonna contact one of the designers who made one of the buildings. There should be like a secret room in there somewhere. And then the following night they say, we found one, a real one. So that heavily implies that William was sealed up, like fully. Like it's not just animatronic not being able to see, like not being able to exit the safe room. It's just like he was fully sealed up in there.
I don't know if the implication, I'd have to check the tapes again. I always took it as the implication was they went back and found the room. I thought it was that they were talking to the architect. He told them about this building, and he was like, "Oh, and there's a secret room that we can go check out as well, because we're gonna try that one out." Now, I could be wrong. I haven't. Let me look at the transcripts. But anyway, I think if the because they do call it a false wall in the phone guy tapes. He refers to it as they're putting up a false wall, and also, I don't think the tapes, the way Ralph is speaking about it in FNAF 3, it doesn't imply that there's a dead person being kept in there. Because he's mentioning like, don't tell it to anyone, like family or friends or insurance representatives. Don't tell anyone. He's not like, because also like a bunch of workers to clear up and cover
no,
up.
the
And
problem I
Ralph
was
to me is, yeah, go ahead, sir.
sorry, it was just the problem I was saying was like the rooms are definitely sealed up before FNAF
Mhm.
1, and then William obviously like pulled back up by something.
Outside it can only open, so if you're stuck inside, it can't open again.
Yeah. I can see that.
Or at least, I mean, he's also speaking about, again, now it depends on if they've gone to the FNAF 1 location already and they're going back to it, or if it's the first time going, because he could be talking to the architect and he could be like, oh yeah, I remember there was this room that got boarded up, blah 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 blah. We can go check that out. And then they get there and it's open. You know, the board's off the wall. You know, we just hear that the architect is talking about a room that was sealed up, you know?
Yeah. Wait, question. Does anyone know what happens in What We Found?
I do.
Because I do
Vaguely.
not remember.
Hudson. Oh no, my life sucks. I burnt my house to the
Oh, no.
ground. Oh, boo-hoo, poor me. I do
No, I
feel
mean
bad for the guy.
like beginning of the story. Does anyone remember if like they found Springtrap in a boarded room?
I don't think it's
Like,
mentioned
or
that they
how they
found him in
does
a
anyone
boarded
remember
room.
if they found him?
Him. He's in the building now.
A real one.
We
Dude.
found one. A real
A
one.
real one.
Dude.
Oh,
A
gotta go,
real
bro.
one. Gotta go, bro. We found one. A real
A
one.
real one.
Okay.
A real one.
The stream is starting to collapse in on itself. I don't know why, but my internet is gradually getting worse. So, since we've already been rolling
Yeah,
for
we've
about
been here for 2 hours.
yeah, if anyone has any thoughts on Follow Me that they want to say before we call it a day, the time is
Well, I think I'll just bite and say that Follow Me probably takes place after FNAF 1.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
I would also
Sure, it's
I
fine.
would also say to argue not to argue the point that everyone's already agreeing on, but there's the point of Ralph is recording the phone call at the FNAF 1 location with the same tape recorder as he was recording all the other calls and referencing the previous calls, and all of those calls are recorded at the FNAF the MCI location. So he has to have recorded it. It has to be sealed up before FNAF 2. So therefore, in FNAF 2, William is there. So either way, William has to reopen the doors. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's I think
you know
it's
what?
post
How
FNAF
about
1.
how about we do a final thoughts? Like everyone gets 30 seconds on Woodard who just went, and Cosmic I think as well. So if any of you have like a last 30
We're gonna
second
need
final
so
thoughts.
much more than 30 seconds.
No, just say like, oh, I think this, I think that. The stream was mid, and we should all subscribe to Woodard Circle. I mean peak. I mean
BV
peak. I mean
receiver
peak.
is peak. Don't sub to Withered Circle. Green Afton is mid.
Kill him.
Sub to Cyanide.
No. Don't sub to Cyanide. Don't sub to
is
Cyanide.
real.
Sub to
Yo, what the
Mamacado.
fuck, man? Come
Sub
on,
to
bro.
Mamacado
Come on, bro.
instead.
No, it's up to
Dude, if
me.
you gotta pick one, sub to me.
Lefty DCI is
Cosmic
real.
If you have
It's
to
a
do
well-
that,
Mimic is
sub
real.
to
It's a
Cosmic
well-known
Mimic is
fact.
canon.
It's a well-known fact that you can
Sub
only
to
subscribe to
Cosmic
one channel
Star
at a time.
VA. Sub
You can only subscribe to
Regular
one
Duo
channel
is
ever.
real.
Sub to
Use your
Cosmic Star
subscription
VA
on
and watch
me.
my 50-minute long Golden Duo debunk. Watch my 50
So,
minute
someone
long
said
Golden
something
Duo
about
debunk
Greg
so I can
Duo,
get
and I'm not about it.
monetization.
Whoa.
Huh?
I'm starting a donation to get Glue Victim explained and finished quicker
I
because I
agree,
have no
I
idea what
agree.
it is and I'm going
Charlie
insane.
Emily, so you can learn
Yes.
what glue victim
Subscribe
is.
to Charlie
And
Emily.
spam 14.
I can get
Subscribe
behind
to
that.
Charlie.
Anyway, are we done? Do we
And
want to say anything
remember
else?
that Withered Circle made 14 Theory. That's a joke. It's a
Don't.
joke.
Raven got
It's not
pissed off
really a
about
joke.
that.
It's a joke.
It's not. It's not.
It's not a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. Narrow
Totally.
Raven made 14
I'm
Theory.
joking.
Wink. Wink. Narrow Raven made 14 Theory. It happened
Wink,
on
wink,
stream.
nudge,
Wink.
nudge. He totally wasn't a homunculus
Oh my
pretending to be me.
God.
I'm a skinwalker. I can
Learn
canonically
the secrets of
disguise
fear
myself as
victim.
Raven.
And watch my newest video about Happiest Day and Give Gifts, Give Life.
Oh, and watch my newest video about Golden Freddy. It's almost at 20k
Really nice.
views.
I've watched it several times.
I've watched it
Learn the
once.
That
secrets of
too.
ear victim.
Fall asleep to my YouTube videos. You'll wake up knowing everything about the
They're
lore,
too
trust me.
short. They're too short.
Are
So
you guys watching hard enough? I don't think you are.
I
Okay,
mean,
bye everybody.
yeah, yeah.
Bye.
Bye, chat.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, guys. Show's over.
Yeah, we're done.
Watch our
We're done.
videos.
Bye.
Oh my god, thank god it's finally over, am I right?